You can change how you speak English by using a few simple habits every day. This audiobook gives short, clear exercises that you can try right now to make words come easier and sound more natural. You will hear examples and then do small actions that train your mouth, ears, and brain together. Imagine feeling less nervous when you open your mouth and noticing your voice sound firmer and more steady. Picture the relief of finding the right word quickly and the small joy when someone understands you without asking for repeats. Each chapter focuses on one practical habit, from speaking aloud and learning new words to copying movie lines and checking your own recordings. You will also learn how to join conversations online, talk with other learners, and use a dictionary in a way that sticks. The exercises are short, direct, and designed so you can practice even when time is tight. Follow the daily steps and you will move from hesitation to clearer speech and more confident interactions. This is not about perfect grammar or fancy vocabulary. It is about being understood and feeling calm when you speak. Listen closely to the examples, try the practices out loud, and notice the small wins along the way. Stay through the full audiobook and do the short tasks as you go, and you will see steady, real change in how you speak and how you feel about speaking. Chapter 1. Practice speaking English daily to build lasting confidence. Speaking any language with confidence is not a matter of talent or gift. It is a matter of habit. Confidence is built step by step, through small daily actions that shape the way you express yourself. English is no different. If you want to be smart and confident in English speaking, you must give yourself the chance to practice every single day. Not once a week, not only when you meet someone who knows English, but every single day as part of your life. This discipline is what transforms hesitation into fluency and fear into strength. Confidence is not waiting for the right conditions or the perfect sentence to appear in your mind. Confidence is built in the moment you open your mouth and speak, even if the sentence is not perfect, even if the grammar is not right. You practice, you express yourself, and with time the improvement comes naturally. Many people wait until they feel ready, but readiness never arrives until action begins. The first truth you must understand is that confidence in English grows through speaking, not through silent study. Reading books or listening to lessons is important, but without using your voice, you will never train your courage. The voice is the bridge between knowledge and real communication. When you speak English every day, you teach your brain to become comfortable with it. At first, you may stumble, you may search for words, you may feel slow. That is normal. But think of this. Every time you practice, you are planting a seed of confidence. If you speak 10 sentences today, tomorrow, those 10 sentences will be easier. After a week, 50 sentences will be possible. After a month, you will look back and realize that you are no longer afraid of starting a conversation. That is the power of daily discipline. One powerful way to practice is by setting aside a specific time every day to speak. Choose 10 minutes in the morning, or before going to bed, or during your walk. In that time, talk in English about your day, your goals, your thoughts. You may be alone in your room, but your brain does not know the difference between practicing alone and speaking with someone else. What matters is that your mouth is producing words, your ears are hearing English from your own voice, and your mind is learning to stay calm while expressing itself. Do not wait for a partner to practice. If you have someone, that is excellent, but if not, speak to yourself. Describe what you are doing. For example, while making tea, say aloud in English, "I am boiling water. I am adding tea leaves. I am waiting for it to cool." These small sentences may look simple, but they train your fluency. They turn English from a subject you study into a tool you live with. Every action in your day becomes an opportunity to practice. This habit slowly removes hesitation because English becomes part of your daily life, not something separate. Daily practice also trains your emotional strength. At first, fear of mistakes will appear. You will worry about how you sound or whether you are wrong. But each time you speak, you reduce that fear. Confidence does not come from being perfect. It comes from facing fear until it no longer controls you. A person who speaks imperfect English daily will always become more confident than the person who waits for perfection and speaks rarely. The one who speaks often grows fast, while the one who stays silent remains trapped. The difference is not intelligence, it is courage to practice. If you want to build lasting confidence, you must also learn to be kind to yourself in the process. When a mistake happens, do not stop. Do not punish yourself or feel ashamed. Instead, see it as a teacher. Every mistake shows you where to improve. If you mispronounce a word, repeat it again slowly. If you use the wrong tense, correct yourself next time. The important point is that you keep speaking. Remember that even native speakers make mistakes in their own language. Confidence means moving forward despite errors, not waiting for a life without them. A practical step you can begin today is to create a speaking diary. Every day, record yourself for 5 minutes talking about one topic. It could be your morning, your work, your favorite memory. At first, you may feel uncomfortable hearing your own voice, but over time you will notice progress. The first recordings will sound broken, but after a few weeks you will hear smoother sentences, clearer pronunciation, and stronger confidence. Reviewing your voice is like holding a mirror to your progress. It shows you that your effort is creating real change. Another powerful method is to shadow voices. Listen to a short piece of English audio and repeat it aloud immediately, copying the tone and rhythm. This trains your ear and your mouth together. Do it daily, and you will find that English sentences flow more naturally. This habit also increases your courage, because you are training your voice to sound confident. Shadowing turns you from a passive listener into an active speaker. If you have opportunities to speak with others, do not hesitate. Even if your English feels limited, use it. Start with simple greetings, small questions, or short answers. Each conversation you begin is a victory, no matter how small. Think of confidence as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Avoiding conversations makes the muscle weak, but daily practice keeps it growing. Over time, you will notice that you are no longer nervous before speaking, because your brain now believes you can handle it. That belief is the foundation of lasting confidence. Discipline is the key here. Some days you may not feel like speaking. Some days you may feel tired or discouraged. But those are the most important days to practice. Confidence is not built on easy days. It is built on the days you practice even when you do not want to. This resilience gives you strength, not only in English, but also in life. You prove to yourself that you can continue despite discomfort. That is true confidence. The ability to act even when it is not easy. Consistency matters more than length. It is better to practice speaking for 10 minutes every day than 1 hour once a week. Daily repetition keeps the language alive in your mind. It builds a habit so strong that you no longer have to force yourself to practice. It becomes as natural as brushing your teeth. This is the level of discipline you should aim for, because habits shape destiny. Make English speaking a part of your identity, not a temporary task. Confidence also grows when you track your small victories. Celebrate each day you complete your practice. Celebrate each conversation you start. These small wins build motivation. They remind you that progress is happening, even if it feels slow. Over weeks and months, these victories accumulate into a deep, unshakable belief in yourself. You begin to trust your ability, and that trust is what people see as confidence. You must also be patient with your journey. Speaking English confidently is not a goal you reach in 1 week or 1 month. It is a lifelong practice. Every day adds a layer of growth. If you remain disciplined, the results will surprise you. The shy person you once were will slowly disappear, replaced by someone who speaks clearly, calmly, and confidently. And this confidence does not only help in language, it also transforms your self-image. When you know you can face challenges and improve daily, you carry that strength into all areas of life. Think of the power of daily speaking practice as a path to freedom. Freedom from fear of judgment. Freedom from silence when you want to express yourself. Freedom from the thought that you are not good enough. Each day you speak, you break one more chain that holds you back. You rise step by step into a life where your voice matters, where your thoughts are heard, where your presence is respected. That is what daily practice gives you. The truth is simple. If you practice speaking English daily, you will become confident. If you avoid speaking, confidence will never come. Knowledge without use is wasted, but knowledge put into action becomes power. This is the discipline you must adopt if you want lasting confidence. Speak today, speak tomorrow, speak the day after. No excuses, no waiting, just action. In the end, the key to being smart in English speaking is not hidden. It is in your daily routine. Every time you choose to speak, you are building the foundation of a confident future. Each word you speak is an investment in yourself. Keep investing, and the result will be a version of you that speaks English with clarity, calmness, and strength. That version is already inside you, waiting to be built through daily practice. You have the power to create that transformation. All you need is the discipline to speak every day, the patience to learn from mistakes, and the courage to continue. If you do this, confidence will not be something you chase. It will become who you are, and once you have lasting confidence in English, you will carry that same strength into every part of your life. Chapter 2. Learn new English words daily and use them naturally. Words are the building blocks of confidence, and the more words you know and use, the sharper and smarter your English speaking becomes. Every new word you add to your daily life gives you a new way to express your thoughts, to connect with people, and to feel comfortable in conversations. The secret is not only learning words, but using them naturally in real life. A word written in a notebook but never spoken will never become part of your voice. To truly grow in English, you must treat words as living tools, not as lifeless items on a list. Learning new words every day is not about memorizing endless lists or trying to remember complicated definitions. It is about making a steady habit of discovering 1 or 2 useful words, repeating them aloud, and finding ways to use them in your sentences. When you do this consistently, you create a library inside your mind that grows day after day. Over time, you will notice that sentences flow more easily, your conversations feel smoother, and you no longer feel limited in your expression. This small daily action has the power to transform your speaking ability completely. Start by choosing words that are practical and common. Many learners waste energy on rare or academic vocabulary they will never use in daily conversations. Instead, focus on words that appear in everyday life, words you hear in movies, in news, in conversations, and on social media. These are the words that will serve you best, because they will come up often. Each time you hear them, you will feel stronger because you know their meaning and you know how to use them. This creates confidence, and confidence grows with repetition. One effective method is to learn words in context. Instead of just memorizing the meaning of a word, see it in a sentence. For example, if you learn the word improve, do not stop at knowing that it means make better. Practice with sentences like, I want to improve my English speaking, or she improves her health by eating well. By attaching the word to a situation, you make it easier to remember and easier to use. Context is the bridge between knowledge and real-life application. Another powerful habit is to speak the word aloud as soon as you learn it. Do not just read it silently. Pronounce it, hear yourself saying it, and repeat it several times. Your voice and ears must work together to make the word part of your natural speech. This is how the word becomes alive in you. If you only read silently, the word remains locked in your head. But when you speak it, it becomes part of your expression. The act of speaking builds familiarity, and familiarity removes hesitation. To make your practice even stronger, create personal examples for every word you learn. When you connect a word to your own life, it sticks. If you learn the word progress, say, I am making progress in English every day. If you learn the word confident, say, I feel confident when I speak English. By using the word in a way that reflects your reality, you create an emotional bond with it. That bond makes it difficult to forget. Words become part of you when you tie them to your own story. Do not pressure yourself to learn too many words at once. Some learners try to memorize 50 words in one day and forget them all within a week. True wisdom is in consistency, not speed. Learning 1 or 2 words daily may feel small, but over a year that becomes hundreds of words you can actually use. It is better to master a few words fully than to know many words poorly. Discipline and patience will take you much further than rushing without depth. To strengthen your progress, review what you learned. Spend a few minutes at the end of the day repeating the new words and the sentences you created. Repetition is not boring, it is the key to memory. Each time you review, you deepen the roots of the word in your mind. Over time, you will notice that the words come to you naturally in conversation without effort. That is the moment when you realize the habit is working. Another way to use words naturally is by combining them with your daily activities. If you are cooking, use new words to describe the food. If you are walking, describe what you see. If you are writing a message, try to include the new word. By linking the word with real activities, you turn your environment into a classroom. English stops being a subject you study and becomes a language you live. That transformation is where real growth happens. A valuable step is to share the words with someone else. Teach a friend the word, use it in a message, or explain it in conversation. Teaching is one of the strongest forms of learning because it forces you to recall and apply the word clearly. When you share knowledge, you strengthen your own memory and at the same time build connection with others. Every word you pass on becomes more deeply yours. Confidence comes when you stop fearing mistakes. Many learners hesitate to use new words because they worry about using them incorrectly. This fear keeps them silent. But silence is the real mistake. Speak the word even if you are unsure. If you use it wrongly, you will remember the correction and improve. If you never use it, you will remain stuck. Courage is the bridge between learning and confidence, and courage grows when you practice daily. It is also helpful to keep a small notebook or digital file where you write your new words along with a sentence. Review it often. But more importantly, use it as a tool to remind yourself of your progress. Seeing the pages fill up with words you can now understand and use gives you motivation to keep going. This notebook becomes a record of your growth, a reminder that every day of discipline has value. To make the process more enjoyable, connect words to things you love. If you enjoy sports, learn words related to sports. If you love cooking, learn cooking words. If you enjoy movies, note down expressions you hear in films. Passion makes learning natural and easy. When you learn words in areas that excite you, you remember them faster and use them more often. English becomes a tool for exploring your interests, and this gives you energy to continue. Daily learning of words is not only about language, it also shapes your character. It teaches you patience, discipline, and consistency. It trains your mind to focus on progress instead of perfection. It builds resilience because every day you choose to grow a little more. This is how personal development happens, small, steady steps that create lasting change. By committing to learning and using words daily, you are not only improving your English, you are strengthening your mind and spirit. The journey of vocabulary building is a journey of self-respect. Every word you learn is proof that you value your growth, that you believe in your future, and that you are willing to act daily for it. When you stand in a conversation and find the right word at the right moment, you feel a strength inside you. That strength comes from the hours of discipline you invested when no one was watching. It comes from the habit of adding one small piece of knowledge every day. Do not underestimate the power of this practice. 10 minutes of learning and using a word daily may look small, but in the long run, it can completely change your ability to communicate. Communication shapes opportunities, relationships, and success. The more clearly and confidently you speak, the more doors open for you, and it all begins with the choice to learn and use one new word today. The path is clear. Learn new words daily, speak them aloud, use them in sentences, connect them to your life, review them with patience, share them with others, and most importantly, do it consistently. This is how English becomes not just something you know, but something you live. This is how confidence grows, not as a sudden event, but as a daily discipline that builds you into a stronger, wiser, and more capable version of yourself. Chapter 3. Read simple English books aloud to strengthen fluency. Your fluency in English will only grow stronger when you train your voice to flow with words, and one of the most powerful habits to achieve this is reading simple English books aloud every single day. When you read with your voice, you are not only feeding your mind with new language, you are also training your mouth, your tongue, and your rhythm to move naturally with English sentences. Fluency is not built by silent study alone. It is built by giving life to words through sound and practice. Reading aloud is far more than pronunciation practice. It forces you to stay focused. It develops your ability to connect words smoothly, and it teaches your brain to think in complete sentences. Each page you read aloud strengthens your ability to handle longer expressions without breaking the flow. At first, you may pause often or stumble on unfamiliar words, but with each day your pace will grow smoother. The discipline of daily reading aloud gradually rewires your speaking habits until sentences roll off your tongue with ease. The best way to start this practice is by choosing simple books. Do not rush into heavy novels or technical works. Select books written in clear language with short sentences. Children's books, beginner-level stories, or simple non-fiction guides are excellent starting points. These give you words and expressions that you can easily understand, which keeps your confidence strong. The goal is not to impress anyone with complex vocabulary, but to train your speaking muscles to flow with natural English. As you read, focus on clarity rather than speed. Pronounce each word fully, open your mouth, and let your voice be strong. Speaking too fast will only make you anxious and lead to mistakes. Reading aloud is a chance to slow down, pay attention to each sound, and build precision. Over time, your clarity will improve, and once clarity is strong, speed will naturally follow. Fluency is not about rushing. It is about speaking smoothly, without unnecessary pauses. To deepen your learning, repeat paragraphs more than once. The first reading may feel rough, the second smoother, and by the third you will feel confident with the flow. Repetition trains your brain to recognize patterns and your tongue to move without hesitation. Each time you reread, your fluency grows stronger and the sentences become part of your memory. This is not wasted effort, it is a deliberate exercise to make English comfortable and automatic. Pay attention to punctuation when reading aloud. Pause slightly at commas, stop fully at periods, and raise your tone for questions. These natural rhythms will make your speech more alive and expressive. Reading without rhythm makes your voice sound robotic, but respecting punctuation helps you sound natural. This habit carries into your real conversations, where pauses and tones are just as important as the words themselves. Another practical step is to record yourself while reading aloud. Listening to your own voice helps you notice areas where you need improvement. Maybe you skip words, maybe your voice drops too quickly, or maybe your pronunciation is unclear. By hearing yourself, you become your own teacher. Over weeks, you will notice the difference between your early recordings and your later ones, and this progress will give you confidence to keep going. Fluency is also about connection, not only with words, but with meaning. Do not just read aloud mechanically. Try to feel the story or the idea. Put emotion into your voice. If the sentence is happy, let your tone rise. If it is serious, let your voice be calm. This practice not only makes reading enjoyable, but also develops your ability to express emotions in English. People will connect more deeply with you when your words carry feeling, and reading aloud is the perfect training ground for this skill. You can make your reading practice stronger by setting a daily goal. For example, read 2 pages aloud every morning or 10 minutes before bed. Do not wait for motivation. Make it part of your routine, like eating or exercising. Discipline is more reliable than motivation. The more consistent you are, the faster you will see improvement. Over weeks and months, this small effort compounds into great progress. Another way to practice effectively is to underline or mark new words while reading. After finishing the page, say those words aloud separately, then return to the paragraph and read it again. This reinforces both your vocabulary and your fluency. You are not only practicing flow, but also expanding your ability to use more words confidently. With time, those once unfamiliar words will become natural parts of your speech. If you feel nervous about reading aloud at home, remind yourself that this is private practice. You are not performing for an audience. You are strengthening your own skill, step by step. Nobody is judging you, and mistakes are part of growth. The privacy of reading aloud allows you to experiment, to be bold, and to try again until you feel stronger. This freedom is powerful because it trains you without pressure, and later, when you face real conversations, you will feel more prepared. You can also make this practice interactive by reading to others. If you have children, read them stories in English. If you have friends learning English, take turns reading aloud together. This creates accountability and adds joy to the process. Reading to others also pushes you to speak more clearly and confidently because you know someone is listening. Each time you do this, you strengthen both your skill and your courage. Fluency is a reflection of habit. When you build the habit of daily reading aloud, your mind begins to think in smoother patterns and your tongue adapts to the rhythm of English. You no longer feel stuck when forming sentences because your brain and mouth are trained to work together. This training cannot be replaced by silent study or passive listening. It requires your voice, your effort, and your discipline. To make the habit sustainable, choose books you enjoy. If the book interests you, you will read with energy and consistency. If it bores you, you will give up quickly. Passion keeps you consistent, and consistency is the secret to lasting fluency. Do not force yourself into books you dislike just because they seem advanced. Growth comes from what you do repeatedly, not from what looks impressive. As days turn into weeks, You will notice subtle changes. You'll stumble less, your pace will improve, and your sentences will sound more natural. These changes may feel small, but they are powerful. They mean your fluency is growing beneath the surface. Keep going, and soon conversations will feel smoother because your daily reading practice has trained you well. The habit of reading aloud also builds confidence beyond language. It teaches discipline, patience, and focus. It shows you that progress comes from small daily actions. These qualities will serve you in every part of life, not just English. When you can commit to reading aloud daily, you prove to yourself that you can stay consistent with any goal. That belief is a source of strength that carries into all challenges. Your journey to fluency is not about perfection, but about progress. Every page you read aloud is a step forward. Every stumble is a lesson. Every repetition is growth. Over time, these steps lead you to a place where English flows naturally from your voice, where you no longer fear speaking, and where you feel free to express yourself fully. Remember this truth: fluency is not a gift given to a few. It is a skill built by those who practice daily. Reading simple English books aloud is one of the most effective ways to build that skill. Make it part of your life, do it with discipline, and watch your fluency grow stronger each day. Chapter 4. Listen to English conversations daily and repeat clearly. Success in speaking English comes when you train your ears and your tongue to work together with discipline and focus. Every person who has ever become fluent has gone through the same journey of listening carefully to how words are spoken and then repeating them until they sound clear and confident. The power of listening is that it brings you into direct contact with real speech, the way people naturally express themselves, not just the words printed in a book. When you listen to English conversations every single day, you allow your brain to absorb patterns of rhythm, tone, and pronunciation that cannot be learned through reading alone. And when you repeat those conversations out loud with clarity, you begin building fluency that feels natural and strong. Think about a child learning their first language. They do not begin with grammar books or dictionaries. They listen to their parents, their friends, and everyone around them, and slowly, through repeating what they hear, they start forming sentences. You can use this same powerful method for English no matter your age or background. Start small. Pick conversations that are short and easy, such as a greeting at the store, a simple dialogue from a TV show, or a short podcast designed for learners. Listen closely, not just to the words, but to the music of the sentence, the pauses, the emphasis, and the emotion behind the voice. Then, open your mouth and repeat it as clearly as possible. Do not rush. Clarity is far more important than speed. Daily listening will build habits that go deep into your subconscious mind. If you hear English only once a week, your progress will always be slow. But when you make listening a daily ritual, you create constant exposure that reshapes how your brain processes language. Imagine listening for 10 to 20 minutes every morning, repeating the sentences aloud, and then doing the same again in the evening. This simple discipline will give you far more improvement than hours of silent study. Fluency grows in small steps, but only if you feed it daily. You may feel shy repeating out loud at first, especially if others are nearby, but remember that confidence grows when you allow yourself to practice without fear. You are not trying to impress anyone in the beginning. You are training yourself. When you repeat, do not just whisper. Speak with a voice that is strong enough to hear. Each word should be shaped fully. If you mispronounce, stop and try again until it feels correct. The more you repeat with attention, the more your tongue and lips become trained to move in the right way. English has sounds that may not exist in your own language, and they will only become natural through daily repetition. Listening also teaches you about connection between words. In real conversations, native speakers do not always pronounce each word separately. They link words together, shorten some sounds, and stress others. If you only read silently, you miss this important part of fluency. By listening daily, you notice how going to becomes gonna in fast speech, or how certain letters are dropped when people talk casually. These are the details that make your English sound natural, and they are best learned by listening carefully and repeating clearly. One helpful exercise is shadowing. This means listening to a sentence and repeating it at the same time, almost like an echo. At first, it feels difficult, but it forces your brain to work faster and your mouth to keep up with real speech. Start with short sentences, then slowly build to longer ones. Shadowing trains both your listening and your speaking at once, giving you the confidence to handle conversations without hesitation. It is important to listen to different voices. If you always listen to only one speaker, your ears get used to one style and one accent. English is spoken in many countries and in many ways. Train yourself to listen to American, British, Australian, or even Indian English. Each has unique rhythms and pronunciations. When you expose yourself to variety, you become flexible, and no accent will feel too difficult to understand. Over time, this makes you a stronger and smarter communicator. Do not worry about understanding everything at first. Focus on the general meaning and the way the words are said. Even if you understand only half of the conversation, repeat it out loud. With time, your comprehension grows, and what once felt confusing will become clear. Consistency is what matters most. Many learners give up because they expect perfection too quickly. But remember, improvement is guaranteed if you listen and repeat every single day. A good strategy is to keep a notebook of phrases you hear. When listening, write down sentences that you find useful and then practice repeating them later. This way, you are not just listening passively, but actively collecting language tools you can use in real life. Soon, you will notice that some of these phrases come out naturally when you speak with others, without effort, because your brain has already practiced them many times. Another key point is to repeat with emotion. Do not speak like a robot. Pay attention to how the original speaker uses their voice, whether they sound excited, calm, surprised, or serious. Copy not only the words, but also the feeling. This will make your speaking more alive and more engaging to others. People connect with energy, not only words, and by practicing emotional repetition, you train yourself to communicate with impact. Technology gives you endless opportunities to listen daily. You can use podcasts, YouTube videos, audio lessons, or even voice assistants on your phone. Turn your environment into a learning space. Instead of just listening to music during a walk, choose a short English conversation and repeat it while you move. Instead of scrolling through your phone at night, listen to a dialogue and say it out loud before sleeping. These small choices add up and create big results over time. You must also track your growth. Record yourself repeating sentences and then compare it with the original. At first, you may hear many differences, but over weeks and months, you will notice your voice becoming clearer and closer to the native version. This is powerful proof that your daily practice is working. Listening to your own voice builds self-awareness, and self-awareness builds confidence. Some days you may feel tired or unmotivated, but remind yourself that even 5 minutes of listening and repeating is better than skipping entirely. Momentum is built by showing up every day, even when you are not in the mood. Each repetition is like a brick, and slowly you are building a strong house of fluency. The real secret is not talent or luck, but persistence. When you dedicate yourself to listening and repeating daily, you will discover that conversations become easier and more enjoyable. You will no longer fear fast speech because your ears are trained. You will no longer hesitate because your tongue is used to moving quickly. You will feel a new confidence growing, and that confidence will carry into every part of your life. Learning to listen and repeat clearly is more than just a language skill. It is a lesson in patience, focus, and consistency. Start today. Choose one short English conversation. Listen carefully, repeat clearly, and keep doing it every day. With time, you will be surprised by how natural your English sounds and how confidently you can speak. The effort you put in daily will transform your future, and you will realize that the key to fluency has always been within your reach. Chapter 5. Write short English sentences daily to improve clarity. Clarity in English begins when you train yourself to write short and simple sentences every single day, because writing is the foundation of thinking clearly. When you put words on paper or type them on a screen, you are forcing your mind to slow down, organize thoughts, and choose the right expressions. This habit is not just about improving grammar. It is about building the confidence to express yourself without confusion. Writing small daily sentences is a powerful discipline that sharpens your focus and strengthens your ability to speak with ease. Because what you can write clearly, you can also say clearly. The beauty of this practice is that it requires very little time, but delivers big results. You do not need hours of writing essays or long stories. You only need a few sentences every day that are meaningful and easy to understand. Start with what is around you. Write a sentence about the weather. Write a sentence about your breakfast. Write a sentence about how you feel. The key is to keep the sentences short, simple, and direct. For example, the sun is bright today, or I feel happy this morning, or my tea is hot. These may look basic, but they are the bricks that build strong communication skills. Over time, this habit helps you avoid the common mistake of overcomplicating sentences. Many learners try to write long and difficult lines, and in the process, they lose clarity. But when you train yourself to write short sentences, you master the skill of direct communication. You no longer hide behind complex words. You speak in a way that others understand immediately. That is true power in language. Writing daily also forces you to notice your weaknesses. When you write, you may realize you are repeating the same words often, or you may find certain verb forms confusing. This awareness is important because it shows you what you need to improve. If you write 100 short sentences in a month, you will have a clear record of your growth. You will see which sentences became easier to form and where you still need practice. Writing is like a mirror that shows you your progress honestly. Another benefit of writing short sentences daily is that it creates a strong memory connection. When you write something with your own hand, your brain remembers it longer. If you write, "I enjoy reading English books," many times, soon this structure becomes natural for you. Later, when you are speaking, the same sentence will come out easily without effort. Writing makes your spoken English stronger because it builds muscle memory in your brain. You can make this practice more powerful by setting a small goal. Decide that you will write 5 short sentences every day, no matter what. Keep a notebook. Or if you prefer, use your phone notes. Do not skip. Even on days when you feel tired, write at least 1 sentence. Consistency is the key. Small efforts repeated daily always produce results greater than one big effort done once in a while. Do not just write the sentences, read them out loud after writing. This way, you connect writing and speaking together. Writing trains your mind, and reading them aloud trains your voice. Together, they create a cycle of learning that multiplies your progress. You will notice that after some weeks of practice, you will not only write faster, but also speak faster, because your ideas will come to you in complete and clear sentences. To make the practice more engaging, you can write sentences based on your daily life situations. Write about something you want to say in English but are not yet confident about. For example, if you want to order food in a restaurant, write sentences like, "I would like some rice," or "Can I have chicken soup?" Writing these in advance gives you practice for real conversations. You will not only be writing for learning, but also preparing yourself for actual situations. It is also helpful to use new words in your sentences. If you learn a new word today, use it in a short and simple sentence immediately. This way, the word becomes yours. For example, if you learn the word delicious, write, "This cake is delicious." Simple, short, and clear. If you repeat this process daily, your vocabulary will grow naturally, and you will not forget the words because you have used them actively. Recording your sentences over time will also give you motivation. Imagine looking back after 3 months and seeing hundreds of sentences you have written. That is clear evidence of your commitment and growth. It shows you that your effort is building real progress. Whenever you feel discouraged, you can look at those pages and see how far you have come. One mistake many learners make is waiting for the perfect time or perfect idea before writing. Do not wait. Write whatever comes to your mind in the moment. The act of writing is more important than the topic. Some days your sentences will be simple, other days they may be more creative, but every day you are training your brain to think in English, and that constant thinking is what creates fluency. To improve faster, you can also share your sentences with a friend, a teacher, or even online communities. When others read your sentences, they can give feedback or corrections. This helps you learn from mistakes and grow faster. Even if no one reads them, the act of writing is already transforming your ability. Writing daily short sentences also develops discipline in your life. It shows you that improvement comes from regular small actions, not from waiting for a big miracle. This lesson applies to everything in life, not just English. It teaches patience, responsibility, and focus. When you commit to writing daily, you are building not only your language but also your character. As you continue, you can increase the difficulty step by step. Start with very short sentences of 3 or 4 words. Later, move to slightly longer sentences of 7 or 8 words. But always keep clarity as your main goal. Do not write to impress. Write to express. Remember, the best English is not the most complicated. It is the clearest. Over weeks and months, you will notice that your ability to form sentences becomes faster and smoother. You will no longer need to translate from your native language because your brain will already be thinking directly in English. This is the moment when you start to feel truly fluent. And all of this begins with the simple habit of writing short sentences every day. If you stay consistent, your writing will not only improve your English, but also your confidence. You will trust yourself more, knowing that you can create clear sentences whenever you need them. This trust will make you more willing to join conversations, more willing to write emails or messages in English, and more ready to face any situation where English is required. So begin today. Take out a pen or open your phone and write 5 short sentences right now. Make them simple, make them clear, and make them real. Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and every day after that. With each sentence you write, you are moving closer to fluency, clarity, and confidence. The habit is small, but the result is life-changing. Chapter 6. Join English-speaking groups to practice with others. Progress in English becomes faster when you surround yourself with people who are also speaking the language. Because no matter how much you practice alone, nothing compares to the energy, challenge, and motivation that comes from practicing with others. Joining an English-speaking group gives you a space where mistakes are normal, effort is appreciated, and improvement becomes visible every time you open your mouth to speak. It is in these groups that you discover how much you really know and how much more you are capable of learning. When you practice with others, you are forced to think quickly, to listen carefully, and to respond in real time. This trains your brain to function in English without hesitation. At first, you might feel nervous, worried about being judged, or afraid of making mistakes, but that feeling is part of growth. Every person in that group is on the same journey, and the more you participate, the more natural it becomes to speak without fear. Courage is not about waiting for fear to disappear. It is about acting despite the fear, and speaking groups give you that daily opportunity to be brave. The value of a speaking group lies in its diversity. You meet people from different backgrounds, accents, and levels of fluency, and this variety sharpens your listening skills while expanding your vocabulary. You start to notice that the way one person expresses an idea is different from another, and this exposes you to real-world English instead of just textbook patterns. Listening to others also shows you new ways of structuring sentences, and with time, you naturally begin to use these patterns in your own speech. Joining such groups also keeps you accountable. When you promise yourself that you will show up at a certain time to practice, you build discipline. If you practice alone, it is easy to skip a day or make excuses, but when others are waiting for you, you feel responsible to be there. This consistency is what transforms your learning from random practice to a daily habit. Each meeting becomes a step forward, and every step forward builds momentum. These groups are not only about practicing language, they are about building confidence. Each time you speak in front of others, you strengthen your belief that you can handle conversations outside the group as well. Ordering food, introducing yourself to strangers, speaking in meetings, these situations become easier because you already faced the challenge in a safe environment. The group becomes your training ground, preparing you for the world beyond. Another powerful advantage of group practice is feedback. When you speak, others can point out errors you may not notice yourself. They can suggest better words, correct your pronunciation, or guide you toward more natural expressions. Feedback is sometimes uncomfortable, but it is the fastest way to improve. Accept it with humility, apply the corrections, and you will grow faster than you imagined. You also learn by teaching. When someone in the group struggles with a word or phrase, and you explain it to them, you reinforce your own knowledge. Teaching requires clarity, and when you can explain something clearly to others, it proves that you truly understand it yourself. This cycle of giving and receiving help strengthens not just your skills, but also your sense of community. Many people hesitate to join groups because they believe their English is not good enough yet. This is a false belief that holds back progress. A speaking group is not for perfect speakers. It is for learners. The whole purpose is to make mistakes together and learn from them. If you wait until you feel ready, you will never start. You become ready by starting, not by waiting. If you cannot find a physical group in your area, online platforms make it possible to join from anywhere. Video calls, chat rooms, and virtual meetups are powerful tools that connect learners across the world. Online groups give you the same benefits of accountability, exposure, and practice, often with the added bonus of meeting people from different cultures. This diversity enriches your understanding and makes conversations more interesting. The act of joining and participating regularly also builds resilience. You will have days when words do not come easily, when you feel embarrassed, or when you compare yourself to others and feel behind. These moments test your patience and determination. Instead of running away, choose to stay consistent. Every time you push through discomfort, you are building not just your English, but also your character. You are training yourself to remain steady under pressure, and that strength will serve you in every area of life. To get the most out of a speaking group, You must actively participate. Do not just sit quietly and listen. Speak, even if your sentences are simple or broken. Express your thoughts. Ask questions. Share opinions. The more you contribute, the faster your growth. Silence keeps you safe, but it also keeps you stuck. Speaking, no matter how imperfect, is the only path to fluency. One effective approach is to prepare a few sentences before each meeting. Think of a topic you might discuss, your hobbies, your day, your goals, and write down simple sentences in advance. This preparation gives you confidence and ensures that you have something to say. Over time, you will need less preparation because the words will come naturally, but at the beginning this habit is a helpful support. These groups also create a sense of belonging. Language learning can feel lonely if you do it by yourself, but in a group, you realize you are not alone. You share struggles, celebrate progress, and encourage one another. That support system is priceless. It keeps you motivated when your energy is low and reminds you that improvement is always possible with persistence. With consistent participation, you will notice practical improvements. You will find yourself responding more quickly in conversations, understanding different accents more easily, and using new vocabulary without hesitation. These small but powerful changes add up over time, giving you the fluency and confidence you once only dreamed of. The real transformation happens when you take what you practice in the group and apply it to real life. After practicing introductions in the group, introduce yourself to someone new outside. After practicing questions, use them with a shop assistant or colleague. The group is practice, but the world is the real test. Every time you apply what you learned, you strengthen your skills even more. Joining an English-speaking group is more than just a learning strategy. It is a commitment to personal growth. It requires courage, humility, discipline, and consistency, but the rewards are worth every effort. You gain not only better English, but also stronger confidence, sharper listening, and deeper connections with people. The journey of mastering English is long, but you do not have to walk it alone. A speaking group gives you companions, guides, and fellow travelers who make the path easier and more enjoyable. Together, you push each other forward, and together, you celebrate each milestone. So take the step. Find a group near you or online and commit to joining regularly. Speak up, make mistakes, learn from them, and grow stronger every day. With time, you will look back and realize that this simple decision to practice with others was one of the most powerful steps in your journey to becoming confident, fluent, and smart in English speaking. Chapter 7. Record yourself speaking English daily and review progress. One of the most effective ways to transform your English speaking skills is to record yourself daily and listen carefully to what you sound like, because this habit gives you the rare chance to hear your own progress with complete honesty. When you speak to others, you may not notice the small mistakes, the unclear pronunciation, or the hesitation in your voice, but when you record and replay it, you see everything clearly. That self-awareness is powerful because you cannot improve what you do not notice. By recording, you take control of your learning, and instead of guessing about your ability, you have evidence that shows exactly where you stand. The simple act of pressing the record button turns every practice into a tool for growth. At first, it may feel uncomfortable to hear your own voice. Many people even dislike listening to themselves, but this discomfort is part of the process. When you accept it, you remove the fear of judgment, because the only person you are trying to improve for is yourself. Over time, listening to your voice becomes normal, and instead of fear, you feel excitement because every new recording shows how much stronger you are becoming. Recording daily also helps you track progress in a way no other method can. If you keep your recordings saved by date, you can go back after a week, a month, or even 6 months and compare, you will notice your sentences becoming smoother, your pronunciation clearer, and your confidence stronger. Progress often feels invisible day by day, but when you compare your voice over time, you realize how much you have grown. That realization fills you with motivation to keep going. This practice also develops self-discipline. Knowing that you must record something every day pushes you to speak, even on days when you feel tired or unmotivated. Even if you only record for 2 minutes, the habit itself builds consistency. That consistency matters more than perfection. Fluency is not built in one big effort, but in small daily actions repeated again and again. Recording ensures that your learning is not random, but structured and reliable. One of the biggest advantages of recording is that it highlights areas for improvement with accuracy. You might think your pronunciation is correct, but when you listen, you realize certain words are not clear. You might feel that your sentences are smooth, but the recording reveals pauses or filler words. Instead of depending on others to correct you, you become your own teacher. You learn to listen critically, spot weaknesses, and fix them one by one. This self-correction is what leads to rapid improvement. To make the practice effective, choose different topics for your recordings. Some days, talk about what happened during your day. Other days, describe something around you. You can even choose a news article or short story and summarize it in your own words. By changing topics, you challenge yourself with new vocabulary and sentence structures. This variety keeps the practice interesting and prevents boredom. It is also powerful to read aloud while recording. Take a short passage from a book, article, or online text and read it into your recorder. Then listen back and compare yourself to a native speaker reading the same text if available. Notice where your rhythm, stress, or pronunciation differs, and practice until it feels closer to natural. This method trains your ear and your tongue at the same time. The habit of recording also builds confidence for real conversations. If you can speak to a device clearly, you will feel more prepared to speak to people. You will no longer be shocked by the sound of your own voice in English because you will already be used to it. Many learners freeze in real conversations because they are hearing themselves speak English for the first time in a serious situation. Recording daily removes this surprise. You are already comfortable with your voice, so you speak more naturally when the time comes. Another benefit is that recordings capture your progress even on bad days. Sometimes you may feel that you are not improving or that you are stuck, but when you listen to an old recording and compare it to your current one, you realize that your brain and tongue have been learning silently in the background. Even when you feel slow, growth is still happening, and recordings remind you of that truth. Sharing your recordings with a trusted friend, teacher, or language partner can also multiply the benefits. They can listen and give feedback on pronunciation, grammar, or clarity. Even if you do not share them, you still gain value, but when you allow others to help, you speed up your progress. Do not be afraid of judgment. Every fluent speaker today once struggled just like you. When recording, do not aim for perfection. Aim for practice. Some days your sentences may flow smoothly, other days they may feel broken, but both are valuable. What matters is that you keep speaking, keep recording, and keep learning from each session. If you wait until you feel ready to record perfectly, you will never start. Fluency comes from action, not from waiting. To avoid falling into routine, challenge yourself with small goals. For example, 1 week focus on improving pronunciation, the next week focus on using new vocabulary, and the week after that focus on longer sentences. Each recording becomes a chance to work on a specific skill. This structured focus accelerates your learning and gives you clear direction. Recording daily also sharpens your listening skills. When you listen to yourself, You begin to notice details in sound that you may have ignored before. This heightened awareness carries over when you listen to others. You start to hear pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation more clearly, which improves your ability to understand real conversations. Speaking and listening grow together when you record regularly. Even though technology makes this practice easy, the real power lies in your commitment. Your phone, computer, or even a small recorder can capture your voice, but only your discipline can make it a daily habit. Every recording is a promise to yourself that you are serious about growth. Over time, these promises stack up into results you cannot ignore. The process also teaches patience. You will not sound perfect after 1 week or even 1 month. Improvement is slow but steady. Recording reminds you that growth is not about sudden transformation, but about steady discipline. Each small step builds upon the last, until one day you realize you are speaking with a clarity and confidence you never had before. You can even turn your recordings into a personal archive of your journey. Imagine having 6 months or a year of recordings stored safely. You will have not just a memory, but actual proof of your dedication. That archive will inspire you during moments of doubt, showing you how far you have already come and reminding you of what is possible if you keep going. Recording yourself daily and reviewing your progress is not just about language. It is about building resilience, discipline, and self-awareness. It shows you that growth requires courage to face your weaknesses and strength to keep improving despite them. It trains you to hold yourself accountable and gives you control over your learning. Speak today, record today, and listen today. Do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and every day after that. Each recording may feel small, but together they create transformation. Your voice will grow stronger, your sentences will become clearer, and your confidence will rise higher. One day, you will listen to your recordings and smile, knowing that the journey was worth every effort. Chapter 8. Watch English movies daily and copy the dialogues. Movies can be your greatest classroom, and every dialogue you hear can become a tool to shape your fluency. When you sit down to watch an English movie, you are not just watching entertainment. You are opening a door to real, natural conversations that people use every single day. Unlike textbooks or formal lessons, films give you access to authentic expressions, intonation, humor, and cultural references that make English come alive. Imagine listening to your favorite actor say a line and then repeating it with the same energy, tone, and rhythm that practice alone can lift your confidence and help you sound more natural when speaking. Start by choosing movies that are slightly easier to follow, with clear dialogue and everyday vocabulary. Animated films, family dramas, or light comedies often have simple and clear language, making them perfect for learners. As you watch, don't just sit back passively. Be active. Listen carefully to how the characters pronounce words, how they pause between sentences, how their voices rise and fall naturally. Then press pause, repeat the same line yourself, and try to match it as closely as possible. At first it may feel strange, but over time you will notice your mouth adjusting to the sounds and your pronunciation improving without you even realizing it. When you copy dialogues, focus on more than just the words. Pay attention to the rhythm and flow of speech. English has a certain musicality, and movies are the best way to hear that rhythm in action. If you repeat a line slowly at first, that's perfectly fine. Once you are comfortable, say it again at the same speed as the character. This kind of shadowing exercise, listening and repeating, trains your brain and your tongue at the same time. Soon, when you need to speak in real conversations, your mind will recall the way you practice those sentences from the movie, and you'll be able to speak with ease. Subtitles can be very helpful in the beginning. They allow you to connect the spoken words with their written form. Watch a short scene with subtitles first, then replay it without them. Try to see if you can catch the same words by ear. Over time, challenge yourself to depend less on subtitles and focus more on listening. The goal is to train your ears to recognize the language naturally, without always needing text to guide you. Another powerful way to learn from movies is to pick a short clip, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and practice it multiple times. Don't try to copy the whole movie at once, because that will overwhelm you. Instead, choose one memorable scene, listen to it carefully, and repeat every sentence until it feels comfortable. If the actor says, "How are you doing today?" don't just repeat it once. Say it several times, until your mouth learns the exact sound, then move to the next line. This focused practice turns one small scene into a personal speaking lesson. Movies also help you expand your vocabulary in a fun way. You'll hear words and phrases you might not find in textbooks, but people use them daily. Whenever you come across a new phrase, write it down in a notebook, then practice saying it in your own sentences. For example, if you hear a character say, "That's awesome," don't just note the meaning. Repeat it aloud, then use it later in your day. You could say to yourself, "My dinner was awesome," or "This music is awesome." The more you connect new words to your real life, the faster they become a natural part of your speaking. Don't underestimate the power of emotion in movies. When characters argue, laugh, or cry, they use tones and expressions that bring the language to life. If you copy those emotions while repeating the dialogues, you will not only improve your pronunciation, but also learn how to express feelings in English. This is something textbooks rarely teach, but movies show it clearly. For example, if a character shouts angrily, try to repeat with the same emotion. If they whisper softly, lower your voice too. These small practices help you develop a range of speaking styles, making your communication more expressive and engaging. Make it a daily habit, even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes. Consistency is the key. Watching a movie once a week won't help much, but repeating dialogues daily will create visible progress. Over weeks and months, your speaking will become smoother, your listening sharper, and your confidence higher. The more you practice, the more you will start recognizing similar phrases in real conversations, and soon you'll find yourself responding naturally, just like the characters you copied. It's also important to enjoy the process. Choose movies you genuinely like, whether it's action, romance, comedy, or adventure. If you love what you're watching, you'll stay motivated and look forward to practice. The more excited you feel, the more energy you will bring into repeating the dialogues. And remember, it's not about memorizing every single line. It's about training your ears, your tongue, and your brain to work together. Over time, you will notice that your fluency doesn't just improve during practice, but also in real life. You may find yourself recalling a phrase from a movie during a conversation and using it naturally. That is when you know this method is working. You're not just studying English, you're living it. So make movies your classroom, make characters your teachers, and make repetition your daily practice. With each dialogue you copy, you are building a stronger, more confident voice in English. Keep watching, keep repeating, and keep improving. Every day you dedicate to this practice brings you one step closer to fluency, and the progress you will feel will motivate you to keep going without stopping. Chapter 9. Start conversations in English without fear or hesitation. The real breakthrough in learning English comes the moment you open your mouth and speak without fear, because confidence in conversation is the bridge between knowledge and true fluency. Many learners spend months or even years studying grammar, memorizing vocabulary, and listening to others, but they hesitate when it's time to start speaking. This hesitation is what keeps progress slow, and breaking it is the step that transforms your English journey. The truth is, no matter how much you study, You cannot master communication without practice, and practice begins when you start conversations yourself. Think of how powerful it feels to walk up to someone and greet them in English. It doesn't need to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be long. Even a simple "Hello, how are you today?" can be the spark that builds your courage. Every small attempt you make creates momentum, and that momentum grows into natural confidence. Many people wait until they feel ready, but the reality is, readiness comes from doing, not from waiting. If you take the first step today, you will already be ahead of the thousands who stay silent out of fear of mistakes. One of the best ways to practice starting conversations is by choosing everyday situations. Imagine you are in a shop. Ask the seller, "How much is this?" If you are in a cafe, say, "Can I have a cup of tea, please?" These are not complicated sentences, but they are powerful because they train you to use English naturally in daily life. Over time, these small interactions build a foundation of real communication, and with each attempt, your brain learns that speaking English is not something to fear, but something you can handle with ease. Mistakes will happen, but mistakes are proof that you are learning. Native speakers don't laugh at learners, they respect them for trying. Think about it. If someone tried to speak your language, even with mistakes, you would admire their effort, not criticize them. The same is true for you. Every time you start a conversation, you show courage, and courage is more important than perfection. With every sentence you improve, and the more you improve, the fewer mistakes you make. It is a natural process that cannot be avoided, so embrace it instead of fearing it. You may wonder how to deal with the nervousness that appears before you speak. A helpful technique is to take a deep breath and remind yourself that your goal is communication, not perfection. Focus on expressing your idea clearly, even if the grammar isn't perfect. People care about what you are saying more than whether your grammar is flawless. Once you free yourself from the pressure of being perfect, you will find speaking much easier. Another powerful method is to prepare simple conversation starters in advance. Think of a few questions you can ask in different situations. For example, if you meet someone new, you can say, "Where are you from?" or "What do you do?" If you are in a group, you can ask, "Have you seen this movie?" or "What do you think about this place?" These are small but effective ways to enter conversations, and they give you a chance to keep practicing naturally. It's also important to listen carefully to how others respond. Conversation is not just about speaking, it's about listening too. When you pay attention to how people answer, you will naturally pick up new words, phrases, and ways of expressing ideas. Then you can use those same expressions in your own future conversations. Listening and speaking go hand in hand, and by starting conversations, you give yourself the opportunity to learn directly from real communication. Don't be afraid of silence either. Sometimes, when you speak, you may pause to think of the next word. That is normal. Even native speakers pause when they are searching for the right words. What matters is that you continue instead of giving up. If you forget a word, use another word you know, or explain what you mean in a simple way. The goal is not to say everything perfectly, but to keep the conversation alive. The more you practice this, the more fluent and confident you will become. A great exercise you can try is setting yourself a daily challenge. Promise yourself that every day you will start at least one conversation in English. It doesn't matter if it's long or short. What matters is that you do it. At first it might feel difficult, but after a week, you will notice that it becomes easier. After a month, you will not only be speaking more, but also enjoying the process. This daily habit transforms speaking from something scary into something natural. Another tip is to practice with people who are also learning. When you talk to fellow learners, the pressure is lower because they understand the struggle too. You can motivate each other, correct each other, and grow together. Over time, you can also challenge yourself by starting conversations with more fluent speakers, because that will push you to improve further. The combination of both safe practice and real-world practice gives you a strong balance. Technology can help as well. Join online groups, forums, or language exchange apps where people want to practice English. You can start with text messages and then move to voice calls or video calls. Each step gives you more confidence and more practice. The more people you interact with, the more you will realize that English is not something to be afraid of. It is simply a tool to connect with others. Remember that courage grows when you use it. The first time you start a conversation in English, your heart may beat faster. The second time it will still feel uncomfortable, but a little easier. By the 10th time you will feel proud of yourself, and by the 100th time, speaking will feel natural. This growth only happens if you keep pushing yourself to begin conversations, even when you don't feel ready. So take that step. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait to feel fearless. Fear only disappears when you face it. Every greeting, every question, every small talk you attempt is a victory. You are not just learning English. You are proving to yourself that you are capable, strong, and unstoppable. The more you speak, the more doors open in your life. With English, you can connect with people across the world, discover new opportunities, and express yourself with freedom. And it all begins with the courage to start a conversation without hesitation. Chapter 10. Ask questions in English daily to practice communication. Asking questions in English every single day is one of the most powerful habits you can build if you want to become confident, fluent, and natural in your communication. A question is not just a sentence, it is an invitation to connect with someone, to learn something new, and to push yourself into active use of the language. Many learners focus on speaking only when they are asked something, but the real growth comes when you take the initiative and start by asking. By doing this daily, you turn passive knowledge into active skill, and each question you ask becomes a step toward mastery. When you ask questions, you open the door to conversations that might not have started otherwise. Think about how easy it is to approach someone with a simple, "What do you think about this?" or "Can you tell me more about that?" These sentences are short, yet they lead to long exchanges where you can listen, respond, and practice naturally. The more you ask, the more you create opportunities for communication. Instead of waiting for someone to engage with you, you become the one who drives the conversation forward. This shift builds confidence because you realize that you can control the flow of interaction rather than waiting passively. The beauty of asking questions is that it works in every environment. In a classroom, you can ask your teacher, "Can you explain this again?" At work, you can ask a colleague, "How does this process work?" In daily life, you can ask a shopkeeper, "Do you have this in another size?" These are not complicated sentences, yet they serve an important purpose. They allow you to practice your English in real practical situations. Every time you do this, you not only practice forming sentences, but also practice listening to the responses, which improves your overall comprehension. To make this habit strong, start by focusing on simple, repeatable question forms. For example, use "what is," "where is," "how do," "when will," or "why does." These question structures can be used in countless ways. What is your favorite food? Where is the nearest bus stop? How do you spell this word? When will the meeting start? Why does this happen? By practicing these forms daily, you create a flexible base that allows you to adapt to different situations. Over time, the words will flow naturally because your mind will already be used to building questions quickly. Confidence in speaking grows when you give yourself permission to be curious. Curiosity is not only helpful for learning English, but also for building relationships. People enjoy answering questions because it shows interest. When you ask someone in English about their opinion, their experience, or their knowledge, you create a bond that goes beyond language. At the same time, you get the chance to hear authentic English in response, which is far more valuable than memorizing phrases from a book. Real people teach you how the language is used in daily life, and this only happens if you take the first step by asking. You may feel nervous at first, thinking your question might sound wrong or too simple. But remember, simplicity is powerful. Asking "what time is it?" or "where are you from?" may feel basic, but it is effective because it starts real communication. Over time, you will progress to deeper questions like, what do you enjoy most about your work? Or how do you usually spend your weekends? These types of questions encourage longer answers, which means you hear more English and get more chances to respond. The growth is gradual but steady, and it comes from consistent daily practice. A practical way to make this a daily routine is to write down 3 new questions each morning and challenge yourself to use them before the day ends. For example, if your 3 questions are, what does this word mean? How do you say this correctly? And what is your opinion about this? You can practice them with classmates, colleagues, or even strangers if the opportunity arises. This simple challenge forces you to step out of silence and into real conversation. At first, you may manage only 1 question a day, but as you gain confidence, you will find it easier to ask more and more. Recording your questions and reflecting on them can also help. At the end of the day, think about the questions you asked and how people responded. Did you understand the answers? Were there any words you didn't know? Could you have asked differently? This reflection builds self-awareness and makes you more mindful of your progress. Over time, you will notice that your questions become smoother, your pronunciation clearer, and your confidence stronger. One of the biggest advantages of asking questions is that it trains your brain to think in English. Instead of translating from your native language, you start forming questions directly in English. The constant repetition of question patterns conditions your mind to build sentences faster, and this is what leads to fluency. Every day that you practice, your thoughts align more naturally with the language, and hesitation decreases. To make this journey more engaging, try asking questions in different contexts. At home, ask your family members, even if they are not fluent in English, simple questions like, what do you want to eat? Or where is the book? At school or work, ask about tasks, schedules, or opinions. When watching English movies or listening to podcasts, pause and create your own questions about what you just heard. For example, if you hear a dialogue about travel, ask yourself, where would I like to travel? How would I explain that in English? This habit makes practice enjoyable and diverse. Another important point is to listen carefully to how native speakers or fluent speakers ask questions. Pay attention to their tone, their choice of words, and their structure. Copy these patterns and use them in your own conversations. By imitating natural question forms, you make your English sound more authentic and smooth. For example, instead of saying, tell me your favorite color, you might learn to ask, what's your favorite color? These small adjustments make a big difference in how natural you sound. Asking questions also helps you break free from the fear of silence. Many learners struggle with keeping conversations going because they don't know what to say after the first sentence. Questions solve this problem instantly. By asking something related to what the other person just said, you keep the conversation alive. For example, if someone says, I like reading, you can ask, what kind of books do you enjoy? This shows interest, creates connection, and gives you more chances to hear and practice English. The real transformation happens when asking questions becomes second nature. You no longer need to remind yourself to do it. It becomes part of how you communicate. Every question you ask builds your vocabulary, improves your grammar, sharpens your listening, and strengthens your courage. It's a habit that combines all the skills of language learning into one simple action. In the end, the key is consistency. A single question asked once in a while will not change much, but a question asked every day, for weeks and months, will transform you into someone who communicates with confidence and ease. Each day is a new chance to grow, and every question is a small victory. The more you ask, the more you learn, and the more you grow into the fluent speaker you dream of becoming. So take this habit seriously. Start today with one question. Tomorrow, add another. Let curiosity guide you, let courage support you, and let daily action lead you forward. By asking questions in English every day, you are not only practicing a language, you are building resilience, self-belief, and the ability to connect with the world in ways you never imagined. This is how progress happens, step by step, question by question, until fluency becomes your reality. Chapter 11. Think in English daily to train your mind faster. The fastest way to truly master English is to train your mind to think in it every single day. Because when your thoughts begin to flow in English, speaking becomes natural, listening becomes easier, and learning becomes unstoppable. Most learners struggle not because they lack vocabulary or grammar, but because they translate every thought from their native language into English before speaking. This habit creates hesitation, slows communication, and makes conversations stressful. The moment you stop translating and start thinking directly in English, you unlock the power of fluency. Thinking in English is not about complexity, it is about practice. Begin with the simple things around you. When you wake up, instead of thinking, "I need to brush my teeth," in your own language, tell yourself in English, "I need to brush my teeth." When you see the sun outside, think, "The weather is bright today." These small internal sentences may seem basic, but they are the training ground where fluency is built. The more often you do this, the more your mind adapts to forming English thoughts without extra effort. One of the most effective ways to start is to describe your surroundings in English silently. Look around your room and say in your mind, "This is my bed, the table is near the window, my shoes are under the chair." At first you might feel slow, but over time your speed increases. The goal is not to be perfect, but to create a habit of using English as your natural thought process. Just as you once learned to think in your native language as a child, you can train your brain to adopt English the same way through constant use in daily thinking. You can also practice by planning your day in English. While brushing your teeth, think, "I will eat breakfast after this." While preparing food, think, "I need to cut the vegetables." Before leaving home, think, "I should take my keys and wallet." These small planning sentences slowly shift your inner voice from one language to another. It may feel unusual at first, but every attempt strengthens your ability to think faster in English. Another method is to talk to yourself silently in English when faced with decisions. For example, if you are at the supermarket, instead of thinking in your native language, switch to English and ask yourself, "Should I buy apples or bananas today?" Or, "This packet is cheaper, but is it better?" These short questions and answers with yourself push your brain to stay active in English while performing normal tasks. Journaling in your mind is another powerful exercise. As you go through the day, reflect in English on what is happening. If someone smiles at you, think, "She looks happy today." If you finish a task, think, "I am proud I completed this on time." If you make a mistake, think, "Next time I will do better." This practice not only improves your English, but also develops your self-awareness and discipline, making your thoughts sharper and more positive. At times, you may find that you don't know the exact word for what you want to say. Instead of stopping and returning to your native language, train yourself to explain it in English using the words you already know. For example, if you forget the word umbrella, think, the thing I use when it rains. This keeps you active in English and teaches your brain how to stay in the language, even when knowledge feels limited. Over time, you will naturally fill in the gaps by learning the missing words, but the habit of staying in English will already be strong. A powerful daily habit is to imagine conversations in English. Before meeting a friend or going to class, think in English about what you might say. For example, I will ask her about her weekend, or I need to explain my homework. You can also replay past conversations in your head, but this time in English. Imagine how you would have said it, what words you could have used, and how you could respond differently. This rehearsal prepares your brain to respond faster when real situations appear. You can also use short mental challenges to push yourself. For 10 minutes a day, commit to thinking only in English. During that time, avoid any translation and keep your inner voice in English, no matter how simple or broken the sentences may be. With consistency, you will notice that those 10 minutes expand naturally into longer periods until English becomes a natural part of your thought process throughout the day. Listening practice supports this habit strongly. When you hear English songs, podcasts, or movies, pause and repeat sentences silently in your mind. Try to reframe them in your own words. If someone says, "I am going to the park," in your head, think, "He is going to the park." This exercise keeps your brain active and helps you practice forming thoughts instantly. The more you repeat this, the faster your mental response becomes. It is also helpful to attach emotions to your English thoughts. If you feel happy, think, "I feel excited." If you are tired, think, "I need to rest." If you are nervous, think, "I am worried, but I will be fine." Linking emotions to English not only makes your vocabulary more meaningful, but also makes the language part of your daily life on a deeper level. Emotions are strong, and when they are connected to English, your memory and fluency grow naturally. Some learners hesitate to think in English because they are afraid of making mistakes in their mind, but your thoughts are your private practice ground. There is no judgment, no audience, and no pressure. This is the safest place to experiment, to try new words, and to build confidence. The more you do this, the more natural your speaking becomes when you talk to others. The inner training reflects directly in your external communication. To measure your progress, notice how quickly English comes to you when you need it. At first, you might hesitate even in your thoughts, but after weeks of daily practice, you will notice that simple sentences flow without effort. Later, you will find yourself thinking full paragraphs or even dreaming in English. These are signs of deep mental training, proof that your brain is adapting and that you are moving closer to fluency every day. Consistency is the key. Thinking in English is not something you do once or twice. It is something you practice until it becomes second nature. Start small, stay patient, and push yourself a little more each day. In time, you will discover that English no longer feels like a foreign language, but like a natural way of expressing who you are. This transformation begins in the quiet moments of your mind and extends into every conversation, every opportunity, and every achievement you pursue. When your thoughts belong to English, hesitation disappears, confidence rises, and communication becomes effortless. You no longer struggle to translate, you simply speak, and the words are there. This is the power of daily mental training. This is the path to becoming not only fluent, but also free in expressing yourself. And it all begins with one commitment: to think in English every single day, without excuses, without fear, and without stopping until it becomes your second voice. Chapter 12. Focus on correct English pronunciation through daily practice. Every single word you speak has the power to transform your confidence, and mastering pronunciation is the key that opens the door to truly fluent English. When people hear you pronounce words clearly and correctly, they immediately understand your message, and you feel a surge of confidence because your effort is paying off. Pronunciation is not just about sounding good, it's about being understood, expressing your thoughts with clarity, and connecting with others without confusion. Many learners focus only on grammar and vocabulary, but if words are not pronounced well, even the richest vocabulary may not deliver the impact you want. This is why daily pronunciation practice is one of the most powerful habits you can build if you are serious about improving your English. Think of pronunciation as the foundation of spoken communication. Just like a building needs a strong base, your English needs clear pronunciation to stand firm in real conversations. Every time you mispronounce a word, there's a chance of being misunderstood. But every time you say a word correctly, you train your brain, your tongue, and your ears to work together more effectively. The truth is, your mouth is like a muscle, and without daily exercise, it won't develop the flexibility needed to produce new sounds. Many learners avoid speaking because they are afraid of mistakes. But the best way to overcome that fear is by practicing daily and correcting yourself step by step. Start small by choosing a set of words that you often use but struggle with. Say them slowly, listen carefully, and break them down into sounds. For example, take the word comfortable. Many learners try to pronounce every single letter, but native speakers usually say it like comfortable. Notice how the sounds are blended and shortened. Practicing words like this teaches you that English pronunciation is not always about spelling, it's about sound. This is why listening closely and repeating daily is so important. Another effective way to improve is by focusing on stress and intonation. English is a stress-timed language, which means certain syllables are emphasized more than others. For example, in the word important, the stress falls on the second syllable, important. If you stress the wrong part of the word, it may sound strange or confusing to listeners. By paying attention to stress patterns, you don't just pronounce words correctly, you also start to sound more natural. Intonation, the rise and fall of your voice, is equally important. A question like "you're coming" sounds different from "you're coming." Practicing intonation daily makes your speech more engaging and prevents it from sounding flat. Recording yourself is one of the most powerful tools for pronunciation practice. When you hear your own voice, you notice mistakes that you didn't realize while speaking. Compare your recording with a native speaker's pronunciation from a video or audio, and then adjust your speech. Do this every day, even if just for 5 minutes, and you'll notice steady improvement over time. The goal isn't to sound perfect overnight, but to gradually reduce errors and increase clarity. Tongue twisters are another fun yet effective method. Phrases like "she sells seashells by the seashore" or "Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers" force your mouth to move quickly and accurately, training it to produce sounds smoothly. Repeating tongue twisters daily sharpens your pronunciation and strengthens your speaking muscles. At first you may stumble, but with persistence, you'll improve your speed and accuracy. Don't underestimate the value of listening carefully. Watching movies, listening to podcasts, or hearing songs in English allows you to pick up on the way native speakers pronounce words in real contexts. Notice how they reduce certain sounds, how they connect words together, and how their rhythm flows naturally. Try repeating after them, almost like shadowing their speech, until your voice begins to match the rhythm and clarity of theirs. Consistency is everything. Practicing pronunciation once a week won't create real change, but daily practice, even if short, rewires your brain and builds muscle memory. Imagine practicing for just 10 minutes every morning. Over weeks and months, your speech will become sharper, smoother, and far more confident. People will begin to notice that your English sounds clearer, and this recognition will motivate you even more. One of the biggest challenges for learners is the fear of sounding strange while practicing aloud. But remember, practicing in private, repeating words, exaggerating sounds, or even speaking to yourself is not embarrassing. It's essential. Every fluent speaker you admire has gone through the same process of training their voice to adapt to new sounds. If you stay consistent, the sounds that once felt awkward will soon feel natural. Focus also on minimal pairs, which are pairs of words that differ only in one sound, like ship and sheep or cat and cut. Practicing these helps you recognize small differences in vowel and consonant sounds, which is critical for being understood. Train your ear to hear the difference, then train your mouth to produce the difference. Over time, this precision makes your speech much clearer. As you practice pronunciation daily, notice how it affects your confidence. When you know you can pronounce words correctly, you no longer hesitate before speaking. You stop worrying about whether people will understand you, and you start focusing on expressing your ideas. Pronunciation practice is not just about speaking, it's about building courage, removing hesitation, and unlocking your ability to communicate freely. Over weeks and months of consistent effort, your progress will become visible. Words that once felt impossible to pronounce will come naturally. Sentences will flow more smoothly. People will respond to you with greater understanding, and conversations will no longer feel stressful. This is the reward of daily pronunciation practice. It transforms not only your speech, but also your confidence, your interactions, and your entire English learning journey. So don't wait for the perfect time, don't postpone, and don't let self-doubt hold you back. Begin today. Take a few words, repeat them slowly, focus on their sounds, record yourself, and keep improving daily. Step by step, word by word, your pronunciation will improve, your fluency will grow, and your voice will carry clarity and confidence wherever you go. Chapter 13. Use a dictionary daily to learn simple English meanings. Knowledge becomes power the very moment you decide to understand every new word you meet. And a dictionary is the tool that makes this transformation possible. Many learners underestimate the strength of using a dictionary daily, yet it is one of the simplest and most effective habits to expand vocabulary and sharpen understanding. When you open a dictionary every day, you give yourself the chance to meet words that will become part of your thinking, your conversations, and your self-expression. A single word you learn today could unlock a book you couldn't understand before, a movie dialogue that once felt confusing, or a conversation where you finally keep up without hesitation. The beauty of using a dictionary lies in the clarity it gives. Often, learners guess the meaning of a word from context, but guessing leads to half understanding, and half understanding limits growth. A dictionary removes doubt by giving you the exact meaning, showing you how to pronounce it, and often providing an example sentence. With this, the word becomes more than a set of letters. It becomes something you can confidently use in your own speech and writing. Every page you explore builds a bridge toward better communication. One of the smartest ways to practice this habit is to pick a small number of words daily. Even learning 3 to 5 words each day adds up to hundreds of new words in just a few months. The key is not only to read the definitions, but also to practice them immediately. If the dictionary tells you that reliable means someone you can trust, think of a person in your life who is reliable and make a sentence about them. This way, the word sticks in your memory, not just as a definition, but as a real part of your experience. Pronunciation guides in dictionaries are another gift many learners overlook. Next to the word, you often see symbols that represent how the word sounds. By reading these, and saying the word aloud, you strengthen both your vocabulary and your pronunciation at the same time. Some modern dictionaries even provide audio buttons, letting you hear how native speakers pronounce the word. Listening and repeating immediately after is a powerful way to train your ear and tongue together. It's also important to understand that using a dictionary does not mean memorizing difficult, rare words. In fact, the most powerful practice is focusing on simple, common words that you will use every day. Many learners chase advanced vocabulary, but fluency grows fastest when you strengthen the basics. If you cannot use simple words clearly, complex ones will not help you. A dictionary helps you master the foundation first, then gradually move toward higher levels. Over time, you will notice a big difference in your reading ability. Sentences that once looked confusing begin to make sense because you know the meanings of more words. Articles, stories, and conversations open up like never before. Your listening improves too, because when you know the meanings of more words, your brain doesn't get stuck in confusion. It keeps moving with the flow of the speaker. This smooth understanding builds confidence and motivates you to continue learning daily. Another advantage of daily dictionary use is learning different forms of the same word. For example, if you search for decide, you may also see decision, decisive, or deciding. This shows you how one root can grow into many useful expressions. By practicing these related words, you don't just learn one meaning, you expand your ability to use the word in multiple situations. This makes your English more flexible and powerful. Writing down the new words you learn each day is a simple yet powerful practice. A personal vocabulary notebook becomes a treasure chest of your progress. Each time you add a word, you are building a record of growth. Revisiting the notebook weekly helps reinforce the memory and reminds you how far you've come. When you flip through and see hundreds of words you once didn't know, you realize the strength of small daily steps. To make learning even stronger, try using each new word in a real conversation within 24 hours. If you learned the word opportunity, find a way to use it when talking to a friend, a colleague, or even yourself in practice. The quicker you use a word, the deeper it settles in your memory. This active use is what transforms knowledge into skill. One challenge learners face is feeling overwhelmed when they see too many new words at once. The key is not to rush. The goal of using a dictionary daily is consistency, not speed. Learning fewer words but practicing them well is far more effective than trying to memorize long lists and forgetting them the next day. A dictionary is not a race, it's a lifelong companion for steady progress. Another powerful way to learn is by combining dictionary use with reading or watching something in English. For example, when reading a book or article, don't skip unknown words. Pause, look them up, and then reread the sentence with your new understanding. This method turns reading into a dynamic learning experience. The same works with movies. When a character uses a word you don't know, check the meaning immediately and then listen for how it's used again later. Over time, this habit makes you more attentive and engaged with the language. Daily dictionary practice also builds independence. Instead of always asking someone else to explain, you train yourself to find answers directly. This skill makes you a more confident learner because you no longer feel stuck when you meet something new. You know that with your dictionary, you can unlock the meaning on your own. Independence in learning is a powerful step toward fluency. Imagine how much progress you can make in 1 year. Just 5 words a day adds up to more than 1,800 words in 12 months. That's an incredible expansion of your vocabulary, and with it comes greater understanding, better speaking ability, and stronger confidence. Every word you add is like adding another tool to your communication toolbox. With more tools, you can build better conversations, express more ideas, and connect with more people. The most important thing is to stay consistent. Don't skip days just because you're busy or tired. Even if you learn just one word, it's still progress. The discipline of opening your dictionary every single day trains your mind to value growth. Over time, this habit becomes automatic, and your vocabulary grows naturally without pressure. So take your dictionary, whether it's a book on your desk or an app on your phone, and make it your daily companion. Learn a few words, say them out loud, write them down, and use them in your conversations. Step by step, your vocabulary will expand, your confidence will rise, and your ability to understand and speak English will reach a level you once thought impossible. The dictionary is not just a tool, it's your daily path to clarity, knowledge, and fluency. Chapter 14. Speak English slowly and clearly to build better flow. Great communicators are not the ones who speak the fastest, but the ones who are understood the most clearly, and this is why speaking English slowly and clearly is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. When you rush through words, you risk losing your meaning, your confidence, and your connection with the listener. But when you give each word space, when you allow your tongue, lips, and voice to move at a steady rhythm, you create speech that is easy to follow, pleasant to hear, and powerful in impact. Many learners believe that fluency means speed, but fluency is not about racing. It is about flow, balance, and clarity. By slowing down, you not only reduce mistakes, but also allow your mind to stay ahead of your words, giving you control and calmness in every sentence. One of the greatest advantages of speaking slowly is that it gives your brain time to process. When you are learning English, your mind is handling many tasks at once, choosing the right words, building the correct grammar, pronouncing sounds properly, and managing your emotions. If you push yourself to go too fast, all of this becomes chaotic, and mistakes multiply. By slowing your pace, you create order in your thinking. You can select words with care, adjust pronunciation, and still keep your sentences flowing smoothly. This builds not only better accuracy but also confidence, because you feel in control instead of overwhelmed. Clarity is the second key. Even if you know many words, if your speech is unclear, people will struggle to understand you. Think of a time you listened to someone who mumbled or spoke too quickly. It felt tiring, even frustrating to keep up. You don't want others to feel that way when listening to you. By speaking with clarity, you respect your listener. You make communication easy and enjoyable. When your words are sharp and your sentences are steady, people pay attention and connect with you. This makes conversations more natural, whether you are talking with friends, co-workers, or strangers. Another benefit of speaking slowly is that it improves your pronunciation naturally. Many learners fail to pronounce words correctly because they rush past the sounds. Slowing down forces you to give attention to every syllable, every vowel, every consonant. Over time, this habit makes your pronunciation stronger without extra stress. It is like training in slow motion. Once you can pronounce words carefully at a slow speed, you can gradually increase your pace while keeping the clarity intact. This method has been proven by language teachers worldwide because it develops accuracy before speed, ensuring a solid foundation. Speaking slowly also helps reduce nervousness. When you are anxious, your heartbeat rises, your breath becomes short, and your words race. This often leads to mistakes and embarrassment, which can damage confidence. But when you deliberately slow down, you take control of your breathing, your voice, and your pace. This calms your nerves and gives you a steady presence. It shows others that you are confident, even if you are still learning. People admire calm speakers because calmness reflects control, maturity, and respect for the conversation. To practice this skill, begin by reading aloud at a slower speed than usual. Choose a short paragraph from a book, article, or even your own writing, and read it as if you are speaking to someone who has never heard these words before. Imagine that every word matters, and your goal is to make sure the listener understands without confusion. Pause at commas and full stops. Allow your voice to rise and fall naturally, and give each sentence its own space. This daily exercise trains your mouth and brain to stay comfortable with a slower rhythm, and it prepares you for real conversations. Recording yourself is another powerful tool. When you hear your own speech, you quickly notice if you are rushing or if your words are unclear. By comparing your recordings week by week, you can measure your progress and adjust your pace. Many learners feel surprised the first time they hear themselves. They realize they speak faster than they thought. With practice, you can consciously slow down until your speech sounds confident, clear, and natural. When speaking with others, don't be afraid to pause. Many learners fear silence, but short pauses are not mistakes. They are signs of control. Skilled speakers, even in their native language, use pauses to think, to emphasize, and to breathe. If you feel pressure to rush, remind yourself that a thoughtful pause is better than a rushed sentence filled with errors. Pausing gives you time to find the right word, and it gives your listener time to absorb your message. This balance makes conversation smoother and more meaningful. It is also helpful to practice conversations with a timer. For example, pick a simple topic, such as your daily routine, and speak for 1 minute. Focus on speaking slowly, clearly, and without rushing. Then repeat the same topic at a faster pace and notice the difference. Often, the slower version feels more powerful and easier to follow. This exercise trains you to value clarity over speed, and it builds awareness of your natural rhythm. When you apply this habit in real life, you will notice changes quickly. People will respond to you with more attention, they will ask fewer times for repetition, and they will treat you as a confident communicator. Even if your vocabulary is still growing, clear and slow speech makes you sound more fluent than fast and unclear speech. Listeners appreciate effort, and when you show that you are speaking carefully, they will respect you more and be patient with your learning journey. Think of your favorite speakers, teachers, or leaders. Most of them do not rush. They speak at a pace that allows their words to sink into the minds of listeners. They understand that communication is not about showing how fast they can talk, but about ensuring their message reaches the heart of the audience. You can apply the same principle in your own English learning. When you slow down, you honor both yourself and the people you are speaking with. Over time, your natural speed will increase, but it will increase with control. You will no longer feel pressure to rush because you know how to balance speed with clarity. Your flow will be smooth, your sentences will sound complete, and your presence will feel strong. This is how you build lasting fluency, not by racing, but by mastering the art of steady, confident communication. So commit yourself today to slowing down. Practice with patience, listen to your recordings, read aloud daily, and allow pauses to support you instead of fearing them. Step by step, your English will transform into speech that is not only correct, but also powerful, easy to understand, and enjoyable to hear. By speaking slowly and clearly, you are not just improving your language, you are shaping yourself into a communicator who carries confidence, control, and connection in every word. Chapter 15. Memorize useful English phrases and apply them daily. Mastering English is not about memorizing endless vocabulary lists, but about learning phrases that carry meaning, context, and confidence, and applying them daily transforms your communication completely. Phrases are the building blocks of natural speech because they allow you to express ideas quickly and clearly without pausing to construct sentences from scratch. When you memorize useful phrases, you are not just learning words, you are learning how thoughts are organized, how emotions are expressed, and how conversations naturally flow. The secret to fluency lies in this habit, absorbing ready-to-use expressions and using them until they become second nature. Start by choosing phrases that are relevant to your daily life. Greetings, polite responses, common questions, and simple expressions of opinion are excellent starting points. For example, phrases like, "How are you doing today? I think that is a great idea," or "Could you please explain that again?" are versatile and appear in many situations. When you know these by heart, you no longer hesitate. Your communication becomes immediate and natural. Each phrase you memorize is a tool that allows you to handle real-life conversations with ease and confidence. One of the most effective strategies is repetition. Say the phrases out loud multiple times each day. By speaking them, your mouth, tongue, and brain form muscle memory. You will notice that over time you don't have to consciously recall them. They simply flow when needed. This is the essence of fluency, automaticity. Your brain begins to recognize patterns in the language, making it easier to create new sentences, adapt phrases to different contexts, and respond naturally. Daily application is crucial. Learning phrases without using them is like filling a bucket with water, but never pouring it out. Speak the phrases in conversations with friends, family, or even in practice alone. For instance, if you learned "I completely agree with your point," find a moment to use it during discussion. If you learned "Can you help me understand this?" ask it when seeking guidance. By using phrases actively, you cement them in memory and build real-life skills simultaneously. Another powerful method is to pair phrases with situations or emotions. When you feel happy, think of the phrase "I am glad to hear that" and use it when responding to good news. When confused, practice "Could you clarify that for me?" This method links memory with context, making recall faster and more accurate. The brain learns more effectively when it associates language with real-life experiences and emotions, turning abstract words into meaningful communication tools. You can also practice phrases by creating short dialogues. Imagine scenarios you often encounter, such as ordering food, asking for directions, or chatting about hobbies. Write a few lines using your memorized phrases and practice speaking them aloud. This rehearsal trains you to respond quickly and naturally, reducing hesitation in actual conversations. When your brain has rehearsed situations multiple times, you enter real-life interactions with preparation and confidence, yet still sound spontaneous and fluent. Recording yourself is another excellent technique. Speak your phrases into a recorder or your phone and listen back. Compare your pronunciation, rhythm, and tone to native speakers. Notice where your intonation could be smoother, where stress should fall, and how the phrases connect in real conversation. Daily review allows continuous improvement and reinforces memory while building your ear for authentic English patterns. It is important to focus on quality over quantity. Memorizing too many phrases at once can overwhelm your memory and reduce retention. Choose a few phrases daily, master them thoroughly, and apply them immediately. Even a small number, consistently used, is more powerful than a long list you barely remember. Daily repetition, contextual use, and reinforcement create lasting fluency. Reading and listening are excellent sources for useful phrases. Books, articles, podcasts, and videos expose you to expressions commonly used by native speakers. Pay attention to phrases that recur in daily conversations. Note them down, practice them aloud, and integrate them into your own speech. This exposure trains your brain to recognize patterns naturally and adapt them to your communication style. When you combine memorization with creative adaptation, your language grows exponentially. For example, if you memorize "I am not sure, but I will find out," you can adjust it to situations: "I am not sure, but I will check," or "I am not sure, but I can ask." This flexibility allows memorized phrases to evolve into versatile tools, giving you more freedom in expressing your thoughts without hesitation. Consistency is the key to mastering phrases. Daily practice, even if brief, creates cumulative improvement. Spending 10 minutes every morning repeating and using phrases is far more effective than sporadic long sessions. The brain responds to regular, structured repetition, and habits formed this way become automatic, helping you speak with confidence and fluidity. Memorizing phrases also strengthens listening skills. When you hear familiar expressions in conversation, you understand immediately without needing translation. This recognition reinforces learning, improves comprehension, and reduces anxiety during communication. Familiarity with common phrases makes you feel prepared and capable, creating a positive feedback loop that motivates continued practice. A transformative approach is to think in phrases instead of individual words. Instead of forming a sentence word by word in your mind, recall a ready-made phrase and adjust it to fit your thought. This reduces hesitation, enhances natural flow, and makes your speech more fluent. Over time, your brain learns to construct longer sentences by connecting memorized phrases, bridging the gap between practice and spontaneous conversation. Fluency comes from action, not theory. The phrases you memorize are only valuable when you use them consistently. Speak them during casual conversations, write them in notes or messages, and even think them silently in your mind. This active use transforms memorized phrases into habits of speech, turning knowledge into real, usable skill. Over weeks of steady practice, the results become visible. Conversations that once felt challenging now feel manageable. You respond more quickly, your sentences sound natural, and your confidence rises. Memorized phrases give you the freedom to focus on meaning, tone, and expression, rather than constantly searching for the right words. This confidence feeds fluency, and fluency reinforces confidence, creating a cycle of continuous improvement. By dedicating yourself to memorizing useful English phrases and applying them daily, you are not just learning language, you are building a foundation for real communication. Every phrase you know is a tool to express yourself clearly, respond quickly, and connect with others. This habit develops your fluency, sharpens your thinking, and strengthens your confidence. When phrases become second nature, you speak not just with words, but with authority, clarity, and presence. Chapter 16. Share your thoughts in English to boost your confidence. Confidence grows the moment you decide to express your thoughts without hesitation, and sharing your ideas in English is one of the fastest ways to strengthen both your communication skills and self-belief. Speaking is not just about grammar or vocabulary, it is about trusting yourself, stepping forward, and giving voice to what you know and feel. Many learners hold back because they fear mistakes or judgment, but every time you speak, even imperfectly, you build courage and mastery. The mind becomes stronger when it is used, and the voice becomes sharper when it is heard. Expressing thoughts regularly in English transforms learning into action, turning knowledge into real ability. Start by speaking in simple sentences. You do not need complex vocabulary or perfect grammar to convey your ideas. What matters most is clarity and authenticity. Even short statements, like "I enjoy reading books" or "I think learning English is exciting," help you practice forming thoughts in English while gaining confidence. Speaking short, clear ideas allows your brain to adjust to English thinking, making the process natural rather than stressful. Each sentence you express strengthens your mental and verbal muscles, preparing you for longer conversations. Daily practice is critical. Speak aloud every day, even if only for a few minutes. Describe what you did during the day, your plans, or your opinions on something you saw. This habit trains your mind to think in English automatically and builds familiarity with expressing yourself freely. The more consistently you share your thoughts, the less hesitation you will feel, and your sentences will flow more naturally. Daily repetition is the bridge between learning and mastery. It is essential to accept imperfection. Many learners stop themselves because they are afraid of errors, but mistakes are an inevitable and invaluable part of learning. Every error provides feedback, showing what needs adjustment. When you share your thoughts, you gain practical experience and learn how to self-correct. Over time, repeated exposure reduces mistakes, increases clarity, and strengthens your confidence because you realize that communication is possible even without perfection. Another powerful technique is to join discussions or small groups where you can share your opinions. Speaking to others creates real-life pressure that accelerates learning. It challenges you to formulate your thoughts quickly, listen actively, and respond appropriately. These situations teach adaptability and teach you how to express ideas under different circumstances. Even if your contributions are short or simple, participating regularly trains both your mind and your voice to handle English confidently. Use your environment as a practice space. Narrate your actions, thoughts, or observations in English as you go about your day. For instance, when cooking, say, "I am chopping vegetables carefully." When walking, describe what you see. The weather is sunny and pleasant today. This turns ordinary moments into opportunities to practice. The more your thoughts are expressed, the more natural English becomes in your mind, and the easier it will be to communicate when it matters. Recording yourself is a highly effective method. Speak on a topic, play back the recording, and notice your pronunciation, sentence structure, and clarity. Evaluate what you did well and what needs improvement. Then repeat, making adjustments. This active review process develops awareness of your language patterns and accelerates progress. Over weeks, recordings become a reflection of growth, showing you exactly how far your confidence and fluency have advanced. Sharing thoughts also improves critical thinking. When you articulate an idea, you organize your mind to make sense of it. English becomes not just a set of words, but a tool for expressing reasoning, emotions, and insights. By verbalizing thoughts, you learn to connect ideas logically, choose precise words, and adapt your language to different audiences. This mental exercise reinforces both language and cognitive skills, creating a dual benefit for communication and intellect. Start with familiar topics and gradually expand. Begin with personal experiences, hobbies, or simple observations. Once you feel comfortable, progress to opinions on news, books, or broader topics. This gradual expansion allows your confidence to grow steadily without overwhelming yourself. Each successful conversation, no matter the length or complexity, adds a layer of courage and self-assurance that carries over into every interaction. Visualization can support your progress. Before speaking, imagine yourself communicating clearly and confidently. Picture the listener understanding your words and responding positively. This mental rehearsal reduces anxiety, primes your mind for success, and strengthens your ability to articulate thoughts naturally. Visualization prepares both the mind and the voice for effective expression. Integrating phrases and vocabulary you have memorized into your thoughts boosts fluency. Instead of constructing sentences word by word, you can rely on pre-learned expressions, which reduces hesitation and makes speech smoother. The more frequently you combine phrases with personal ideas, the faster you internalize the language and the more authentic your speech becomes. Your mind learns to connect vocabulary, grammar, and expressions seamlessly. Listening while speaking is equally important. Observe how others articulate their ideas, note pauses, emphasis, and rhythm. Incorporate these techniques into your own practice. Mimicking effective communication patterns while expressing your unique thoughts helps you sound natural and confident. It also improves understanding of how native speakers structure and deliver ideas, allowing you to communicate more effectively in real-life scenarios. Celebrate small successes. Each time you manage to express a thought clearly, no matter how simple, acknowledge your progress. Confidence is reinforced by recognition of achievement. Over time, these small victories accumulate into significant growth. You will notice that conversations become less intimidating, responses come faster, and your fluency improves steadily. Positive reinforcement motivates sustained effort and deepens your commitment to practice. Consistency and courage are the keys to mastering this habit. Speak daily, record yourself, listen, review, and apply what you learn in real conversations. The process requires persistence, patience, and a willingness to make mistakes. Each day you express your thoughts, you strengthen not only your language skills, but also your self-confidence, independence, and resilience. By taking action, you move from passive learning to active mastery. Sharing thoughts in English transforms your mind and voice simultaneously. It trains your brain to think in the language, your mouth to produce words with clarity, and your heart to embrace confidence. Every conversation you participate in, every phrase you utter, and every idea you express adds to your growth. Soon, speaking English will feel natural, effortless, and empowering, because you have practiced daily, embraced imperfection, and allowed your voice to be heard. Chapter 17. Learn English grammar basics daily and apply them immediately. Mastering English is not about memorizing rules in isolation, but about understanding grammar deeply and applying it immediately to create meaningful and confident communication. Grammar is the framework that holds your sentences together, making your ideas clear, precise, and persuasive. Without it, even the most extensive vocabulary can become confusing and difficult to follow. Daily practice of grammar basics is the fastest way to internalize rules, recognize patterns, and speak or write English naturally without hesitation. Every time you apply a grammar rule, you turn abstract knowledge into living skill, strengthening both your fluency and your confidence. Start with the essentials that appear in every conversation. Focus on subject-verb agreement, simple tenses, articles, and prepositions. These small yet critical elements form the backbone of English communication. By mastering them, you ensure that your sentences are understandable and professional, whether in casual conversation or more formal interactions. Learning grammar one piece at a time prevents overwhelm and allows for steady, measurable progress. Daily repetition is essential. Spend time each day reviewing 1 or 2 grammar points and then immediately using them in writing or speaking. For example, if you focus on the present simple tense today, describe your daily routine aloud. I wake up early. I eat breakfast. I read the news. Using the grammar in real sentences embeds the rule in your memory far more effectively than memorizing explanations alone. The brain learns through application, and practice solidifies understanding. Immediate application strengthens learning. Every time you write an email, speak to a friend, or narrate your day, consciously apply the grammar rules you are learning. If you are studying the past tense, recount events from yesterday. I walked to the store. I saw a friend. We talked for a while. Applying grammar instantly transforms theoretical knowledge into usable skill, turning mistakes into lessons and lessons into mastery. Breaking grammar into small daily exercises makes the process manageable. Instead of trying to learn everything at once, dedicate short periods each day to one concept. For instance, Monday can focus on articles, Tuesday on prepositions, Wednesday on pronouns, and so on. By spacing out your study, your brain has time to absorb and practice each rule. This method prevents fatigue and ensures consistent improvement over weeks and months. Reading is a valuable tool for understanding grammar naturally. When you read English books, articles, or dialogues, pay attention to sentence structures, punctuation, and word order. Observe how tenses, prepositions, and connectors are used. By seeing grammar applied in real contexts, you understand how rules function naturally, making it easier to replicate them in your own speech. Reading becomes not only a source of vocabulary, but also a live grammar lesson every day. Writing exercise enhance grammar mastery further. Keep a daily journal or short notebook where you write a few sentences using the rules you are focusing on. For example, if you are practicing the future tense, write about your plans for the next week. I will call my friend. I will finish my project. I will read a book. Writing consolidates learning because it requires active thought, careful word choice, and correct structure. Over time, this builds both confidence and fluency. Speaking aloud reinforces grammar in a practical way. Practice forming sentences while talking to yourself or recording your voice. Focus on accuracy, intonation, and sentence flow. Repetition strengthens neural connections, making correct grammar the default rather than a conscious effort. This method ensures that when you converse in real situations, correct grammar comes naturally without hesitation or anxiety. Self-correction is a vital habit. After speaking or writing, review your sentences critically. Identify errors, check grammar rules, and repeat the correct forms. This reflective practice creates awareness, helping you internalize rules faster and reducing repeated mistakes. Learning from your own communication reinforces practical understanding and builds resilience, turning errors into stepping stones toward mastery. Interactive tools such as grammar apps, online exercises, and quizzes provide instant feedback and help track progress. These resources allow you to test your understanding, identify weaknesses, and focus on specific areas for improvement. By engaging with grammar actively and seeing results immediately, you maintain motivation and create a structured learning path that is easy to follow daily. Incorporating grammar into real-life communication accelerates mastery. During conversations, consciously think about sentence structures, verb forms, and connectors. For example, when narrating a story, ensure past tense is used correctly. Yesterday I went to the park. I saw children playing. I felt happy. Practicing grammar in context ensures rules are not just memorized, but understood deeply and applied effortlessly. Focus on one rule at a time to prevent confusion. Trying to learn multiple rules simultaneously can overwhelm the mind and reduce retention. By mastering one rule before moving to the next, you build a strong foundation, creating a cumulative effect. Each new rule connects to what you already know, gradually constructing a robust framework for confident communication. Pairing grammar study with vocabulary learning amplifies effectiveness. When you learn a new word, also learn how it fits into sentence structures. For example, understanding how opportunity can be used with articles, prepositions, or adjectives ensures that your usage is correct. This approach merges vocabulary and grammar, producing more accurate and natural English speech. Observation of native speakers provides practical insights. Notice how people structure sentences, use tense, and connect ideas naturally. Mimic their patterns while applying the grammar rules you are learning. This exposure helps your brain internalize the rules in authentic contexts, making your speech sound natural rather than mechanical. Consistency is the cornerstone of grammar mastery. Daily commitment, even for a short time, compounds into significant improvement. 10 to 15 minutes each day focused on one grammar point, combined with speaking and writing, produces measurable results. The discipline of daily practice creates habit, and habit transforms knowledge into effortless skill. Confidence grows when grammar becomes second nature. The more familiar you are with the rules, the less hesitation you feel when forming sentences. Mistakes become less frequent, and your speech and writing appear polished and fluent. This self-assurance encourages more active communication, creating a cycle where practice builds skill and skill builds confidence. The ultimate goal is internalization. By consistently studying grammar basics and immediately applying them, rules become instinctive. Your mind recognizes patterns automatically, your speech flows naturally, and your writing becomes clear and correct. English transforms from a subject of study into a medium of confident expression, allowing you to communicate ideas effectively and powerfully. By committing to daily grammar practice, immediate application, and reflective review, you are building the foundation for fluent and confident English. Each rule you master strengthens your communication, enhances understanding, and boosts your confidence. This disciplined approach ensures that learning becomes lifelong, progress becomes visible, and every day contributes to greater fluency and mastery. Chapter 18. Practice English storytelling daily to improve speaking skills. Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools for mastering English because it transforms your words into experiences that captivate, connect, and communicate ideas naturally. Every story you tell exercises your mind, your vocabulary, your grammar, and your ability to think in English, creating a holistic learning experience that no memorization alone can achieve. Practicing storytelling daily trains your brain to organize thoughts, form sentences fluidly, and express ideas with clarity and emotion. The more you tell stories, the more confident and fluent your speech becomes, and the more natural English feels in everyday conversation. Begin with simple personal experiences. Narrate what happened during your day, how you solved a problem, or a memorable moment with friends or family. For example, describe your morning routine, focusing on sequencing events and adding details. I woke up early, made breakfast, and listened to music while reading the news. This practice forces your mind to structure sentences logically, choose the right tenses, and connect ideas smoothly. Over time, even complex events can be narrated without hesitation. Visualization enhances storytelling practice. Before speaking, picture the events vividly in your mind, imagining sights, sounds, and feelings. The clearer your mental image, the easier it is to describe the situation in English naturally. This sensory connection strengthens vocabulary recall, helps with descriptive language, and gives life to your sentence. Your stories will not only be grammatically correct, but engaging and relatable to listeners. Using dialogue in storytelling is particularly effective. When recounting an experience, include conversations you had. For instance, if you met a friend, say, "My friend asked me how I was doing, and I told her I was feeling great after a long walk." Dialogue introduces practical phrases, reinforces pronunciation, and adds a conversational rhythm to your speech. This habit trains you to recall and use English expressions in realistic contexts. Daily storytelling develops fluency by forcing your brain to think and speak simultaneously. Instead of translating from your native language, your mind constructs sentences directly in English. Start with short stories and gradually expand to longer narratives. The more frequently you practice, the faster your thoughts convert into English speech, reducing hesitation and increasing confidence. Every day you tell a story, you are rewiring your brain to operate in English naturally. Recording yourself during storytelling is a valuable feedback tool. Listen to the recordings to evaluate pronunciation, sentence flow, and vocabulary usage. Identify areas where you hesitated, repeated words unnecessarily, or struggled with grammar. This reflective process allows you to adjust and improve continuously. Week by week, your recordings will demonstrate measurable progress and provide motivation to keep practicing. Storytelling also improves listening and comprehension skills. When you tell a story aloud, imagine a listener following every word. This mindset teaches you to speak clearly, use transitions effectively, and maintain logical order so the story is understandable. You become aware of which expressions are easy to follow and which might confuse, enhancing both speaking and comprehension simultaneously. Incorporate descriptive language and emotions in your stories. Instead of saying, "I went to the park," expand it. "I walked to the park and felt the warm sun on my face while watching children play joyfully." Adding sensory details and emotions enriches your language, makes your speech engaging, and strengthens your ability to communicate nuanced ideas. Descriptive storytelling helps your vocabulary grow naturally while making your English more expressive. Practice storytelling in different tenses. Recount past events using past tense. Describe ongoing actions using present continuous, and talk about future plans using future tense. This repetition in varied contexts reinforces grammar understanding, enhances flexibility, and prepares you for conversations that shift between different timelines. You learn to adapt your sentences effortlessly, which is essential for real-life communication. Storytelling encourages creativity and confidence. When you narrate personal experiences, you learn to shape your words, emphasize important points, and connect events logically. Over time, you gain the confidence to share ideas with others because you have practiced structuring them coherently in English. This confidence carries over into casual conversations, formal discussions, and even presentations, making your English skills versatile and reliable. Joining groups or online forums to tell stories aloud further accelerates improvement. Sharing your stories with others provides interaction, feedback, and the opportunity to adapt language based on listener reactions. This real-life practice adds pressure that strengthens fluency and teaches adaptability, ensuring your English becomes practical and functional rather than just theoretical knowledge. Integrating new vocabulary into your stories is highly effective. Each time you learn a new word or phrase, use it in a story immediately. For instance, if you learned extraordinary, craft a sentence like, "Yesterday I had an extraordinary experience at the market." This contextual use cements vocabulary in memory, improves recall, and ensures that new words are not forgotten, but become part of your active language. Practicing storytelling also develops emotional intelligence in communication. You learn to convey feelings, describe moods, and interpret experiences, which makes your speech relatable and engaging. The ability to express emotion in English adds depth to your interactions, making conversations not only accurate, but meaningful. Listeners are drawn to clarity and authenticity, which comes from practicing storytelling with real emotion. Break down complex stories into sequences of simple sentences initially. This reduces cognitive load and ensures clarity while speaking. Gradually, as your confidence grows, you can combine sentences, use connectors, and add variety. This progressive approach allows mastery without overwhelming yourself and ensures that each story is communicated effectively and fluently. Reflect on the stories you tell. After narrating, ask yourself what worked well and what could be improved. Did you use new vocabulary correctly? Was your grammar accurate? Were your sentences clear and engaging? This self-assessment strengthens awareness, encourages conscious improvement, and reinforces good habits. Reflection ensures that daily storytelling becomes a structured path toward mastery rather than random practice. Consistency is essential. Daily storytelling, even for 5 or 10 minutes, compounds into significant improvement. The habit trains your mind to construct sentences fluidly, strengthens memory for words and phrases, and improves overall confidence in English communication. Repeated practice transforms storytelling from a skill into an automatic process, enabling you to speak naturally without overthinking. By practicing storytelling daily, you build a foundation for fluent, confident, and expressive English. Every story you narrate strengthens your vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, and confidence simultaneously. You learn to convey thoughts clearly, engage listeners, and think in English effortlessly. Over time, storytelling becomes more than practice. It becomes a way of thinking, speaking, and connecting with others in English, creating lasting fluency and mastery. Chapter 19. Join online English discussions to practice with confidence. Joining online English discussions is one of the fastest ways to build real-life communication skills because it puts you in an environment where speaking, listening, and responding are required instantly and naturally. Online discussions remove the fear of judgment that sometimes occurs face-to-face, while still providing interaction that challenges your fluency, vocabulary, and confidence simultaneously. Every comment you write, every question you ask, and every answer you provide strengthens your ability to think and express yourself clearly in English. Active participation in these discussions transforms passive learning into dynamic practice, allowing you to apply everything you have studied into real communication situations. Start by finding discussion groups or forums that match your interests. Choosing topics that excite you ensures you are engaged and motivated to contribute. Whether it is books, technology, movies, travel, or daily life, discussing something you care about makes your participation natural and sustainable. When you are interested in the subject, your thoughts flow more freely, making your language more expressive and your sentences more coherent. This engagement also reduces anxiety because you are focusing on ideas rather than just the language itself. Observe first before participating. Spending a few sessions reading and listening to discussions allows you to understand the flow, the tone, and the vocabulary commonly used. Notice how others structure their sentences, ask questions, and respond to different viewpoints. This observation provides a model to imitate while preparing you for active participation. It is important to absorb the style of interaction before jumping in, because this ensures that your initial contributions are effective and confident. Once comfortable, start contributing small responses. Even a single sentence like "I agree because" or "I think that" is enough to begin building your confidence. Gradually expand your contributions as you become more familiar with the discussion style. Speaking or writing even short sentences consistently creates momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Over time, your participation becomes more complex and fluent, and your ideas are communicated more clearly. As you participate, focus on clarity and accuracy. Express your thoughts simply and directly. Do not worry about perfection at first. The priority is to communicate your idea effectively. Over time, feedback from other participants or self-reflection will help you refine your grammar, vocabulary, and sentence structure. Each interaction is an opportunity to learn and improve, transforming mistakes into lessons that accelerate your progress. Asking questions in discussions is a powerful way to practice. Questions invite responses, keep the conversation flowing, and allow you to interact actively without needing to dominate the discussion. For example, asking "How did you feel about this event?" or "What do you think is the best solution?" encourages engagement while giving you time to formulate your thoughts carefully. Questioning also improves critical thinking because you must anticipate possible responses and plan follow-up comments in English. Responding to others builds both listening and comprehension skills. When someone posts an idea or opinion, read carefully, process it, and then respond thoughtfully. This active engagement forces your brain to process English in real time, improving both your understanding and your ability to communicate logically. Over time, this dynamic strengthens fluency and allows you to react confidently in any English conversation. Recording or noting your contributions can help track progress. After each discussion, review what you wrote or said, identifying strengths and areas for improvement. Check sentence structures, word choice, and clarity. Recognize improvements and set small goals for the next session. Reflecting on your performance makes practice deliberate and results-focused, ensuring every participation session contributes to growth. Consistency is crucial. Engaging in discussions regularly, even a few times per week, produces steady improvement. Regular practice reinforces vocabulary, grammar, and conversational strategies, making them more automatic and accessible during spontaneous interactions. The habit of frequent participation ensures that progress is cumulative, building both skill and confidence over time. Engaging with diverse participants exposes you to different accents, expressions, and viewpoints. Each interaction teaches adaptability and expands your understanding of English usage. You learn alternative ways to phrase ideas, respond to opinions, and handle questions, which prepares you for a variety of real-world situations. Exposure to diverse communication styles enriches your own language skills, making you a more versatile and effective communicator. Prepare topics or phrases in advance. Before joining a discussion, consider key points you might want to express or questions to ask. Having a mental framework reduces hesitation and boosts confidence. This preparation allows you to participate actively without overthinking, giving your mind space to focus on fluency and clarity rather than constructing sentences from scratch. Celebrate small achievements. Each time you successfully contribute, recognize your progress. Completing a meaningful response, asking a question, or clarifying an idea demonstrates growth. These small victories reinforce your confidence, motivate continued participation, and make learning enjoyable. Confidence increases with each interaction, gradually reducing the fear of mistakes and enhancing the ease of communication. Integrate new vocabulary and expressions into your discussion contributions. Using newly learned words in context helps solidify memory and ensures that these words become part of your active language rather than passive recognition. Applying vocabulary immediately in real conversations is one of the most effective ways to internalize language and make it functional in practical scenarios. Active listening while participating is as important as speaking or writing. Focus on the meaning behind others' words, the tone, and the structure of sentences. Listening attentively provides cues on how to respond appropriately, allows you to pick up natural expressions, and enhances comprehension. It also shows respect and engagement, making discussions more meaningful and productive. Overcoming hesitation is a critical part of joining online discussions. Anxiety about making mistakes or being misunderstood can hold learners back. The key is to take action despite fear. Start small, gradually increase participation, and remind yourself that mistakes are part of learning. Each successful contribution reduces anxiety and reinforces the mindset that communication is a skill developed through practice, not perfection. Adapt your style based on interaction. Some discussions may be casual, others more formal. Observing and adjusting your tone, word choice, and sentence complexity ensures your contributions are appropriate and effective. This adaptability is essential for real-life English communication, where situations vary constantly and require flexibility in expression. Focus on engagement rather than perfection. The goal of participating in discussions is to practice thinking and speaking in English, not to produce flawless sentences. Emphasize clarity, logic, and relevance in your responses. Mistakes are opportunities for improvement, not failures, and learning occurs most rapidly when participation is active and consistent. Gradually, online discussions will improve not only your language skills, but also your confidence and independence in communication. Frequent interaction helps you think in English spontaneously, express ideas effectively, and handle diverse topics with ease. The more you participate, the less intimidating English becomes, and the more capable you feel in every conversation. By joining online English discussions daily, you are stepping into a dynamic learning environment where practice, feedback, and engagement converge. Each discussion strengthens vocabulary, grammar, fluency, listening, and confidence simultaneously. This immersive practice transforms theoretical learning into practical skill, empowering you to communicate naturally, confidently, and effectively in English. Chapter 20. Celebrate small English-speaking wins to stay motivated. Every small victory in learning English is a powerful step toward mastery because it reinforces progress, builds confidence, and motivates continued effort. Celebrating achievements, no matter how minor, creates a positive feedback loop that encourages you to keep practicing consistently. Language learning is a journey of incremental improvements, and recognizing each success ensures that motivation remains high even when challenges arise. Every correctly used word, every sentence spoken fluently, every conversation completed without hesitation is proof of growth and a foundation for larger accomplishments. Start by identifying specific moments of progress daily. It could be using a new word correctly, finishing a conversation without pausing too often, or understanding a complex sentence in a book or movie. Acknowledging these moments trains your mind to notice improvement rather than focus on imperfections. This awareness fosters a sense of achievement that fuels your motivation and makes the learning process enjoyable. Keep a journal to track your wins. Write down sentences you spoke confidently, phrases you used correctly, or conversations where you felt proud of your English. Reviewing this journal regularly shows how far you have come, reinforcing the idea that consistent effort produces tangible results. Recording progress visually or turns abstract improvement into concrete evidence, making growth undeniable and inspiring. Reward yourself for milestones. These rewards do not need to be extravagant. Even small treats or breaks act as reinforcement. For instance, after completing a week of daily practice, allow yourself an activity you enjoy. Pairing achievements with positive reinforcement trains your brain to associate progress with satisfaction, enhancing both motivation and discipline. Celebrate improvements in speaking fluency. Notice when you speak without pausing, when your sentences flow naturally, or when your pronunciation sounds clearer. These moments demonstrate the internalization of language skills and indicate that practice is translating into real-world ability. Recognizing these wins reinforces confidence and reduces fear of making mistakes, which is essential for continued growth. Sharing victories with others amplifies motivation. Tell a friend, teacher, or online group about your progress. Receiving acknowledgement or encouragement from others strengthens your commitment and provides a sense of accountability. Social recognition validates effort and keeps enthusiasm high, while also inspiring others to practice and celebrate their own successes. Reflect on challenges you overcame. Perhaps you initially struggled with pronunciation, grammar, or vocabulary recall. Each time you notice improvement in these areas, acknowledge it. Recognizing the distance traveled from struggle to competence emphasizes resilience and perseverance, reminding you that persistence produces results. This reflection deepens motivation and builds a mindset of continual growth. Break larger goals into smaller, achievable tasks. Instead of aiming to speak perfectly in long conversations immediately, Focus on constructing short sentences correctly, using a new word in a sentence, or asking a question in English today. Each accomplishment, however small, contributes to long-term mastery. Celebrating these micro wins makes progress visible and ensures that the journey remains manageable and encouraging. Use positive self-talk to reinforce success. After completing a task successfully, tell yourself statements like, "I improved today," or "I spoke clearly and confidently." This internal recognition strengthens self-belief and reduces anxiety in future practice. Your mindset becomes a powerful ally in sustaining motivation, turning learning into a rewarding and empowering experience rather than a stressful challenge. Visual cues can enhance celebration. Highlight completed tasks on a checklist, mark achievements on a calendar, or create a visual progress tracker. Seeing progress accumulate day by day provides tangible proof of advancement, turning abstract effort into visible success. Visual representation reinforces motivation and reminds you of the consistency that produces results. Celebrate creativity and language use. Every time you construct a sentence with a new phrase, combine words in a unique way, or express an idea clearly, acknowledge that creativity demonstrates understanding and command of English, which is a deeper achievement than rote memorization. Valuing creative expression encourages experimentation, which is essential for mastering communication naturally. Pair celebrations with reflection to deepen learning. After recognizing a success, analyze why it worked well. Was it the preparation, the practice, the mindset, or the method used? Understanding the factors behind progress ensures that successful strategies are repeated and mistakes are minimized. This combination of celebration and analysis converts achievements into long-lasting skills. Engage all senses when celebrating wins. Speak your achievement aloud, write it down, visualize it, or even share it through video. Engaging multiple senses creates a stronger memory of accomplishment and reinforces positive emotional association with progress. These sensory connections enhance motivation and ensure that each success becomes a vivid, lasting part of your learning journey. Encourage incremental improvements over perfection. Focus on how you are getting better each day, rather than waiting for flawless performance. Every word correctly pronounced, every sentence formed accurately, and every confident interaction is a step forward. Valuing incremental progress fosters persistence and reduces frustration, making daily practice more sustainable and enjoyable. Incorporate community recognition. Join online groups or forums where members share progress and achievements. Observing and celebrating others' successes while sharing your own builds a supportive environment that motivates everyone involved. Social reinforcement enhances personal commitment, provides inspiration, and maintains a sense of accountability, creating a thriving ecosystem of progress. Use storytelling as a celebration tool. Narrate moments where you used English successfully in conversations, writing, or presentations. Sharing your experiences reinforces achievement and allows you to internalize progress. Storytelling not only boosts confidence, but also serves as a record of growth that you can revisit whenever motivation dips. Focus on resilience as part of celebration. Recognize not only what you accomplished, but also the obstacles you overcame. Each time you persist, despite mistakes, hesitation, or challenges, acknowledge the effort. Celebrating resilience strengthens mental toughness and reminds you that progress is built through consistent action and determination. Combine celebration with goal setting. After recognizing a win, set the next achievable goal. For example, if you successfully used 5 new phrases in conversation today, aim to use 10 tomorrow. Linking celebration to forward movement maintains momentum and ensures that progress is continuous, making learning dynamic and purposeful. Maintain gratitude for small wins. Appreciating the effort and time you dedicate daily to improving your English reinforces positive habits and strengthens self-discipline. Gratitude creates an encouraging emotional environment that makes daily practice enjoyable, energizing, and meaningful. Celebrate your journey, not just results. Recognize that each day of practice, each attempt to communicate, and each step forward contributes to a larger transformation. The act of showing up, making an effort, and consistently pushing forward is as significant as the mastery itself. Valuing the journey ensures motivation remains high and learning becomes a lifelong rewarding experience. By celebrating small English-speaking wins daily, you create a powerful cycle of motivation, confidence, and progress. Each acknowledgement reinforces effort, enhances self-belief, and encourages consistent practice. Over time, these small victories accumulate into significant improvement, transforming your English fluency, communication skills, and overall confidence. Recognizing and honoring every step of progress ensures that your journey is sustainable, fulfilling, and inspiring, turning daily practice into a rewarding habit that leads to mastery.